a house in New Orleans. They call the rising sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. My mother was a tailor. She saw my new blue jeans. Well, my father was a gambling man. Well, down in New Orleans. Oh my God! So I'm playing with this every week now. Sooner or later, I'll find out what I want to put here. A mix with something more than likely. That's usually what happens, and we'll have to take the lyrics out of it. But still, sooner or later, I'll find something. I really like. We used to use "Enter the Sandman" for
Oh yeah,
on the Flip Side show because it was a good song for. I don't know about this one. So yeah, anyway, y'all will be hearing different things over the next couple of weeks. So just be prepared for it. We just in and out stuff. And yes, Christopher, I promise we will talk about Joe Biden and his
classified documents.
In his documents. We're gonna just have all right. We'll just start out with it. But I mean, I don't like Trump friends because being a centralist is hard on me because I'm not anti-Trump. I'm not pro-Trump, but I'm not anti-Trump. And I do recognize the good things that Trump did do while he was president. I also recognize his crazy ass self as well. So, and he needs to strike a balance in his own soul somewhere. But the thing of it is he. So they're trying to do everything. So first, they do they do his taxes, his company's taxes in New York. Okay, they lost, but Trump didn't lose. Just the firm that ran it, so they're paying that. Trump's not in any trouble for that. So we all know they dumped 7 years of Trump's tax returns to the public. Just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about it anywhere? No. People aren't talking about it. Wait. The only reason you don't talk about stuff like that is unless there's nothing really there to talk about. So yeah, I've heard some people gripe that he got this break or that break or this break, but I haven't heard anybody say there was anything done illegally. So that's just another slap.
Well, when was it that Chicago went after him and he finally did the records for Chicago and found out Chicago owed him $1 million?
Yeah, it's that was just I don't know. It was a few months back. Oh no, it was actually
a couple of years.
No, I'm thinking it was like 2011, 2000. I don't know. I'd have to go look it up to be totally honest with you, but I remember it. And then so here he is now. Now we got the Jan 6 thing. I got to tell y'all this. I was listening to one of the Democratic attorneys talk about this the other day on CNN. The guy's like, I'm not really sure about this. I don't know why they handed this over to DOJ. This is not really a really strong case. This is more, he said, she said. There's no real solid proof. He said you can't really go by what the cops said because they were in disarray, and none of the cops actually died by anything that happened that day. So, the more you hear the other side, the more you're kind of like. And then the thing that still bothers me is the guy who cut the barbed wire, and he was standing on the scaffolding with the bullhorn directing people in, and they caught all these other people, 1,000 other people. There's a clear shot of students. For some reason they can't catch this guy.
Ray Epps too. Ray Epps is a big to do with January 6th.
So from what I've seen so far, the evidence, and we've only got to see, some of the stuff, but it's pretty sketchy. From what I heard the DOJ just say the other day, he doesn't sound, let me go jump on this. Because remember, guys, he's had this for a week now, right? A little more than a week.
Yeah, I think a little bit more. I got some inside stuff on January 6th, but I can't say it. Joe, I'll tell you about it later.
Yes, don't get them. I don't want to watch them bust in your house and take you out.
They already did.
But I mean, it'd be good for ratings.
Here's the card. Here's the card if you can see it. There we go. Yeah. I worked with them though, so it's good. It's all good. I was not there. I was not there. Not physically there. Let's just say that. I
wasn't either. I was nowhere around DC on that particular day. I can honestly say, Matter of fact, I was probably on the radio, to be totally honest. I always thought it was funny. Clara. So anyway, so getting to his tax return. So now they bust into Mar-a-Lago. They tear the place up. Now he's got him in a vault. It's not like this scattered around and left different places.
That was secured by them. Like he contacted them. How do you want us to secure this? And they told him how to secure it. So go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe.
So no, that's fine. So they had, remember, she's right. A month earlier, they had been out there to check this out and to see where he was keeping. They told him exactly what they wanted. He did exactly what they said. So this is going to hurt him in court, and the DOJ knows this. So then all of a sudden, for some reason, DOJ, we're going to send the FBI into the. This has never been done before, people, ever. So they bust into the man's house, and with very sketchy reasons. So all of a sudden, they take all this stuff. Now, 99% of it they've either given back or it has nothing to do. It's a very small fraction they're even looking at, which I think is just kind of funny. So, now they're like, okay, we've got him. Oh, shit. Did Joe Biden just leave secret documents sitting next to his Corvette in his fucking garage? Wait a minute. Wait a minute, people. How are you going to prosecute Donald Trump? You're going to have to put Biden under the jail. And from what they were saying, these were actually codes. So remember, he was VP at this time. This is when this happened.
Well, VP shouldn't have anything, period, at all.
So I don't know. I don't even know how you get around this.
Well,
Jay's got two choices now. He's got two hard choices. One, he can just wag his finger at both of them and say, you were very bad presidents and you shouldn't do this. Or he can try to prosecute Donald Trump and the country will flip out if they don't try to prosecute.
Nothing's going to come out of either one of them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It wouldn't. But so now they can impeach Biden. And Democrats are going to have a hard time voting against it if they try to, bring Trump down. So I don't. So really, truly, it looks like Trump's got he must be a Capricorn or something. Not a Capricorn, a Sagittarius.
Taurus. I want to say
he's like a Sagittarius. Some bitches always land on his feet.
Trump's birthday? Hold on, I'm gonna look that up.
I don't know.
It's June, isn't it? Trump's birthday.
I don't know. I was getting ready to ask Alexa or Siri, but I realized I wasn't in the room where they're at.
Is he Cancer? June 14th is his birthday.
So he's a Gemini?
No.
Well, that would explain a whole hell of a lot.
Is it Gemini? Yeah, it's Gemini. June 20th is the last day of Gemini, so he's Gemini. That makes a lot of sense. I would never date a Gemini.
Oh my God. They are splitzoids, schizoid. Oh my God.
Joe Biden.
This explains a whole kind of shit.
Joe Biden, Scorpio. I will never date a Scorpio either.
That explains a lot more too. So
let's see what
look. Jesus, we need to move to another country for a while.
Obama's birthday is August.
But I got to say, for a Gemini, he does make hard decisions. A lot of Geminis they don't like to make decisions. They like to walk the line and not make decisions. Jimmy, really, Jimmy. So wait, so they found 3 locations, right? 3 different locations they found.
His office, Corvette.
And I'm a little confused about, somebody said something about it was his ex-wife's house. I'm like, wait, no, it was his house. It was his Corvette in his house. But I heard it on 2 different networks. They said, now I'm going to have to go check this out later tonight when I get off air.
His ex-wife, his deceased wife, right?
I guess. And I'm confused about little Jill used to sit on his lap when she was 15.
She was the babysitter is what I thought.
I know. I'm just thinking this was one perverted. Explains a lot about
that Jill killed his first wife. I think she was the one because he lied about the
Well, it would explain a lot about Joe wanting to touch little girls' hair and sniff their hair and shit.
Ugh.
I mean, that's probably what happened right there.
I want to
don't know if that's what happened
too. I want to remind people about something about this because when all this went down at Mar-a-Lago, first and foremost, I'm ticked off with Trump's attorney there because she went there and she left at 5:00. And the FBI was there way longer than 5:00 that day. She left. I would have not have left that facility. She wasn't allowed to go inside. She sat on the outside. I would have not have left until the last FBI agent left. But let's remember, and I pulled this up to make sure I got the dates right. Obama administration in the final year of office spent $36.2 million on legal costs defending its refusal to turn over federal records under the Freedom of Information Act, according to the Associated Press analysis of the new U.S. data, and also showed poor performance in other categories measuring transparency in government. So Obama spent $36 million in legal fees to keep things hidden and not declassified. And where are those records?
See, that's a problem. There's a lot of this been going on, but this is the first time they've actually gone, and you can bet your ass they're not the first presidents, neither one of them, to have shit at their house. You can just take that to the bank. Clinton, they wanted to go look in Clinton's house one time because they thought he had some stuff. I don't know. I think Hillary said something when she became a senator. I think she may even either embellish something or said something that made them think that he may have had documents at his house. So they thought about it, but the Democrats had control of the Congress, so they just let it go, which is not even a little bit surprising. And here we are all this time later going through this same shit. I guarantee there have been more than a dozen presidents that have taken classified stuff home. Well, Reagan couldn't have because Reagan forgot what he was doing the last year he was in office. No, I'm not being mean to Reagan. Reagan was a good president. He got a lot of shit done. He changed.
There's a lot of stuff I don't like about Reagan too.
But there's a lot of but that's the thing with all presidents, and this is something you always have to stop and think about. All presidents, they've got their dark side and they've got their good side. Reagan changed the world. Reagan brought China into the future. Reagan ended communism in Russia. Reagan had a lot of big things to his name. He also reorganized Europe. He's the reason the EU exists. I mean, it's just a lot about him that he wanted it because he was different in the fact that, he was a B actor and he was just a person. He just wanted to be a person. Somehow he got stuck being governor of California. He did a great job, or even the Democrats say that. But he wanted to be a person. So he never lost touch with you and I and Emily. But Biden hadn't been in touch with us since he was 19 years old.
I don't think he's ever been in touch.
He probably hasn't. And Trump really, Trump partially is in touch with us, but the other part of him can't let go of that enormous ego he's got. So he's got a foot on each side, which makes it hard for him.
I want to say this. This article breaks down that $36.2 million that Obama spent in legal costs fighting the documents to be released. In the Justice Department, it accounted for $12 million. Homeland Security Department was $6.3 million, and the Pentagon was $4.8 million. The three departments accounted for more than half of the government's total records requests last year. So that's the bulk of it, where he spent all that fighting the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. And even with Trump and them going in and doing their raid, I think that should be an open door to raid all past presidents that are still living, even deceased, maybe. I don't know.
Well, they did open a precedent here that they shouldn't. So what can happen now, and this is an easy thing to happen to if they can win the presidency in 2024, they keep the House and they win the Senate. They only need 2 seats to win the Senate. Actually, one would do it for them because they'll have the vice president. So really, truly, if they do that, then they can change all this and they will go after these people who have been after them. But right now, they're kind of stuck. All they can do right now is bring the truth to the forefront and say, this is what was going on, people. This is what we saw. This is what we understand. And this is things that we found. Now, like all these documents we found with him hiding up. But I'm curious about 2 things about this thing with Biden. One, they didn't go raid any homes. And it gave him 3 months on his own to get them together. But still, someone somewhere must have leaked this, because why would your lawyers bring this forward if no one knew about it?
Do you think this is an inside job? Is Biden's team turning on him?
Well, they might be. Well, maybe not the team.
Well, we finally get
somewhere told somebody, look, we have found documents in places that shouldn't have been there. And so I think they found the first set, and then it was like 3 months, and then they found another set, and it was like 3 months, and they found another set. It was it was at least 4 months that this went on. Now, Trump never got any of this kind of. I mean, they just boom, boom, bam, took everything and went. And what bothered me about this is a lot of the documents that this is important, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of the documents that the FBI were wanting to look over, they did not have the clearance to look over. Nobody in the FBI, for a lot of the documents he took, especially stuff dealing with Russia and China, the FBI people did not have the clearance to look over. So they were breaking the law. If they looked at anything in those clearances, they were breaking the law because they didn't have the clearance to look at them. So this was a very squishy kind of thing that went on here. It was almost like somebody was looking for some information inside of Trump's documentation to either get him or to get a leg up on something else. This may not all exactly been about Trump. This may have been some of the documents he had, because Trump was a smart bastard. He may have took some documents, for something in the future. I wouldn't put him past it to say, hey, look, let me take this, this, and this. This gives me evidence against these people, and I can use this for the elections. And he may have. That might have been what this was all about. I mean, remember, the guy in control of the FBI was a Democrat, the DOJ is a Democrat, and the House and Senate were Democrats. So they may have decided that, they wanted to know what he had.
I have a question. Do you think possibly with the Trump documents is that the FBI and the other 3 letter agencies was looking far more in depth with stuff that deals with energy, like the Tesla files? Because John Trump, his uncle, overtook that case and was looking through everything back then. But there's several, this is hearsay now, I don't know if this is true or not, but there's several trunks of Teslas missing, and they say that John Trump had that and he's passed it down to Donald Trump. Do you think that they're trying to look for energy weaponry that might be advanced that Donald Trump has?
Well, they might have been looking to see if it was inside in those techniques, but I would bet you if Donald did have it, it was nowhere around anything dealing with the government. He probably keeps it in a whole separate location. If he hasn't, I mean, it's hard to say now. He may have had some contact with somebody who's, in case y'all don't know, people, we figured out fusion. We can actually build reactors now that are just going to create, nothing. They have no downside to them. Once they start, they have enough power to run their cells all the time, and decide, depending on the size of them, they can run your car, your house, your whole city. So what's going to happen over the next 50 years, you're going to see a revolution. First, it's just going to be power plants. They're going to build these in power plants. And after they're built, your electric bill after 10 years, you'll start seeing it just drop through the floor. It only takes 5 people to run the plant. That's it. And again, it produces no kind of waste. There's no byproduct from it. It's just free, cheap energy. Eventually, what you'll see is when you buy a car, it won't come with the power plant because you'll probably already own the power source. You'll have your own little mini reactor that you'll drop in it when you buy your car. Same thing with your house, or they'll come with them. It'll just be a different way, because to be totally honest, electric's not the way, wind's not the way, because I know they don't like to talk about this, and I got a lot of Democratic friends that get mad at me when I go to different lectures and stuff, or when I go to science conventions and talk about this. But so a single electric car, we'll do a little one like the one that the Chevy has, this little car, $28,000. So it's battery. It's battery. The lithium has to be strip mined from a mine. Well, they were getting into Afghanistan, so now it's in the Middle East somewhere. But still, it has to go on 4 ships before it finally ends up at the United States. And it's not even a finished product when it gets here. It has to go to 2 different plants. Okay, so right there, its carbon footprint is huge. So all the electronics, all the wrappings for the engines, all of this stuff come from 4 or 5 different countries. So you're dragging all this stuff in, and then you have to assemble it. It's assembled in 5 different plants. Why not just one plant, like all the rest of the cars are? So the carbon footprint in this car is huge. It's equivalent to like an 18-wheeler running for 5 or 6 years. It's ridiculous. And we want to say, well, and then wait. And it gets even worse, because what do they use? So, I can stop anywhere and charge up $10, $20 to get my electricity. Yeah, you can do that. And you won't go that far, but you can. But guess what? Where did electricity come from? Wait, tell me, wait, what made it? Coal, natural gas? Oh, yeah. So wait, you're just making it worse. So you're not making any difference. You're just, instead of the cars burning, you're just burning more of it at the plants. It's like, sometimes I think my liberal friends just want to be ignorant.
Well, and a lot of these people too goes with this, that they've passed this in law. It's really the vehicle kill switch law that was voted in. That they're saying it's to help police officers with a drunk driver situation or anything like that. But the government and the police facilities, it's given them the opportunity to kill your car anytime that they want to. So if they want to mask us, they want to put us and tell us we can't go out anywhere and stuff, then they can just kill switch our cars too, that we physically can't go anywhere in a vehicle.
Yeah. Well, they'll have a hard time because that's going to have to pass by every state. So.
It says car battery disconnect switches may be a better option for daily drivers too. Like there's a whole big thing. They passed it, and it's going to be mandated on all new cars by 2026.
Yeah, we'll let the states take that fight up because that's not going to work. Especially with a liberal with a conservative Supreme Court, they'll kick it out. But it's not a bad idea.
The kill switches will also prevent people from starting their cars.
Yeah, well, there's lots of good reasons to have it, but it's still just another form of control by the government. So most people go against it. It's like the chip. Everybody in this country could have a chip right now. We chip our prisoners. We chip our pets. I mean, both my pet. Well, my other one's getting ready to get chipped. But
here's what the kill switch will do. I'm sorry, Joe. It will fuel line shut off. It'll shut off all the valves. Car battery disconnects. Remote control car battery switches. I don't know what that means. Fuse box will kill out, and ignition will kill on the kill switch. That was voted
and half the time when you go back to turn the kill switch off, your car don't want to run right.
This will also, they're also saying this will also help with stolen vehicle situation, since in 2020 we had 810,000 vehicles stolen.
Yeah, but there's lots of stuff that helps with that. Drivers just don't want to use them.
Isn't that what we got insurance for? Okay, insurance is a scam.
But think about it. Think about it. Every new car since 2010 comes with an alarm. Mm-hmm. And remember, the presidents and Obama and them bought off all the old cars on the highway. So mostly what's out there is fairly new cars.
Well, I want to know if Biden's what is it? What did he have in his garage?
No, top secret documents. No,
Corvette. I want to know. I want to know if that's electric. No, it's not.
Wait. So far, Miss Obama's come out about she ain't giving up her gas stove. AOC was out today saying she is not giving up. And she's a progressive. She's not giving up.
AOC's being investigated right now.
Oh yeah, she is. She's actually has 3 different investigations going on. One is investigating her boyfriend or husband, whatever he is, but she's not the only one. Omar's being investigated too, so we'll see where that goes. The Republicans want to kick her out of Congress. And they're thinking about bringing up articles of impeachment on her, too, because she hates Jews. So that's a reason to kick you out.
Not AOC.
No, Omar.
Omar.
Yeah, Omar.
She married her brother.
They wanted to marry her brother, but she did a lot of other worse stuff than that. They're looking at her mainly for campaign funds. Same thing they're looking at AOC for is campaign funds. These little youngins don't realize you can't go out and buy your steak with your campaign money. That's not what it's for. It's Biden staff is packing up files in his office. Were worried about what Trump would find when he arrived. Holy shit! He's the next president. He should know everything you got in your office. What's going on here? Oh man, you see people. You know what? I think we should go back to the old ways. So, like down here, if our governor is a Republican or a Democrat, the lieutenant governor can be the opposite party. And in the old days, that's how it was in the United States. I think we should go back to that. So just because your party wins the presidency, the vice president could be another party. It would help keep these assholes, excuse my language, straight, because now there's just too much control. There's just way too much control. Too many people have too much control, and too little people don't. The only time we get anything as a nation is when we get really mad as a big group, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, they're going to start firing people, which is what we do. And but right now with this half and half, mushy, warmy, I talk to my conservative friends and my liberal friends, and they just don't have a clue what they want. All they know is they want change, but they don't know how to bring it. They don't know what to do about it. Limits. Oh, I've been wanting term limits since I was a damn 15.
I'm anxious to see what McCarthy wants, because Matt Gaetz and all the Republican side was stressing that all over and over.
Yeah,
and
well, he may have let the Freedom Caucus get him in trouble. So one of the bills they want to pass is that they can fire Speaker of the House anytime. Well, guess what? That means the other party can too. So Republicans being smart ass trying to keep McCarthy under control.
But it has to go under an investigation, right? It can't.
No. They can just
right?
fire him. Yeah, just take a vote and fire him. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I was reading about it today. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Hopefully they don't ratify.
Shoot, that should have been with Nancy.
Yeah, no, God, Jesus.
I don't like McCarthy. I do not like McCarthy.
I don't either, but I don't. I wanted either one of the guys from Louisiana would have made me happy because they're both, once. And there was a couple other guys. Jim Jordan would have been good, but Jim didn't want it. Jim said he could do more outside than he could inside.
Well, people make fun of me over the Senate because I wanted John Kennedy, to be Speaker of the House. But if you can vote in they can vote Trump in. They can vote any kind of public service person.
We can vote Trish in.
Yeah, we're voting Trish in right now. I'm voting Trish. Yay!
We're gonna put Trish in.
But I would have liked to send John Kennedy, Louisiana.
No, because he's something else. I tell you what, I used to go sit on him and Cassidy's during COVID. They were doing these what do you call them? Fireside chats, not fireside chats, but these little community get-togethers. Man, I'd go in and I'd just rip his ass up, and he came back every time. Well, no, we need to do like this. We need to do like this. So he actually stood up for himself, but he stood up for the people. Is what I liked about him.
I love him.
And but he was another one. See, because Grass or Grizzly, whatever it is, he's from Louisiana, but he's going to be the whatever you call him of the House, not the Speaker. He's the guy who runs the House. He gets everything done.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's his job. He's number 2 in the House now, and he got a good job. But Kennedy was like I think he's got senator aspirations in mind. We got a couple of senators getting ready to retire. I think he might be thinking that way.
No, he's not going to retire. He can't retire.
No, not him. We got senators getting ready to retire. I think he might be thinking about taking their jobs on. And
what jobs do they have?
Well, he's in the House, and or is he? No, he's in the House. One of them's in the House. One of them's in the. Is he? One of them's in the House. One of them's in the Senate. I always get confused. I always flip flop him around.
He's a senator. He's a United States senator.
Let's see. Surprise special counsel comparing Biden to an idiot. Wait, what? No, I didn't know. I could not have just put that up there.
Biden, to this point, I just think this is just elder abuse in many ways.
Well, we'll let Trish decide if it's elder abuse. Hello, Trish. How are you doing?
Hello. Good evening.
I've been dragging her and torturing people. Trish is on Monday nights. What's the damn name of that show again? Missing Piece. She's every Monday. What is it? 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
So y'all can go catch her over there. And she's always getting some kind of mischief going on. I don't know what it is. She's like Harry Potter's aunt or some shit. I don't know what's going on over there.
I did come from the land of enchantment, so
And she lives, where the yellow brick road starts. So, and out there in Kansas. No, really, she lives in Kansas. Yes, Kansas. I don't think they call it like that out there, but we'll let y'all try to go with the Kansas thing. Yes, no, I don't think that's what they call it.
I know where Atwood is. Atwood, Kansas. I did a lot of crude oil stuff in Atwood.
There's, since probably when I graduated high school and actually left here, I started getting into being more interested in history, and there's a lot of history in Kansas. It's actually amazing, and people don't even know because Kansas is a very big state with a lot of very small towns, and every town there's it's 40 miles to get anywhere. So when people are talking about electric cars and stuff, we're like, what? Okay, you're gonna be broke down out in western Kansas with 100 miles to go to the border, but there's. And people are very old-fashioned still, in this state. We have Kansas City, Wichita, and Topeka are the biggest cities. So aside from that, there's not a lot, and people don't.
Well, we're going to send Joe Biden to live with y'all out there in Kansas.
But that's the thing. Like I've met people who have never been out of a 30 or 40 mile radius in 90 to 100 years of their entire life. Some of them still have like old school TVs, don't really only listen to the radio. very simple lives. There's a lot of farmers and such. So any of that history pretty much stays in families and communities, and you don't hear a lot about any of it, ever until you're actually here. So it's kind of interesting.
I believe that because we have a lot, actually in Appalachia, in Kentucky, in the hills of West Virginia and stuff. We still have a lot of that
down
here too. So tobacco farms and all of that. And I live in a city, if you want to call it the city. It's the most depressed city of the United States, but it's in Kentucky. It's a tri-state area of Ohio and West Virginia, but we have a lot of the old school people here too. I'm thankful for the time that we're living in right now. I am thankful for my roots, and I'm thankful I'm living here because nobody's gonna mess with us Appalachian folk. No.
No, that's I love that thing. A friend of mine sent me something. I think it was on TikTok. No, it was actually a Facebook reel. It's this guy. He's
Tyler Childers.
Huh?
Is it Tyler Childers?
Well, no, all I know is to get this guy. He's got a mask. When he starts taking his mask, he's got like devil horns and skittle face on him, and a woman starts talking. She just come on down here and find out what's good. It just sounds like a typical Southern woman. They will shoot your asses. You ain't breaking in nobody's house down here. You will get shot. They have no qualms about shooting you. So somebody just sent me. They found two sets of documents at Biden's house where the Corvette is.
Two sets at the Corvette, and then one set at his office.
There's supposed to be a third place. I was listening to it on the news today. I was listening to some show I hate too. What was it? Oh, I don't know, but I hate them.
The View?
Oh, I can't. The View, I just don't even talk about The View. The View's just, I don't know what happened to Whoopi when she became a white people hater, but she is. And considering she married one white man and dated two others.
It's because she works with Joy. I would hate white people too if I worked with Joy.
And Joy is just an idiot. I mean, she's just an idiot. It's like her daddy kicked her in the head when she was a baby.
Oh.
It's just I don't know what it is about her. And then I love her double standard and everything. I forgot there was a couple things that happened a while back, and she was going on, oh, just they got him, and then it happened to somebody else, and she was like, no, yes, it all works the same for both people there, Joy. I don't know why, and when I look at their ratings, it's depressed. I don't know why anybody watches them. Wait, you're breaking up. The aliens.
Yeah, you're breaking up too, so I started talking. So I'm sorry.
It's okay. It was just, I don't know. Sometimes it gets weird, but.
So I was telling Joe, I don't keep up with politics. I don't pay that much attention to any of that because.
That's why we want you here, because you're a newbie.
because I don't feel like any. I think all of that is just to distract us. You know what I mean? Because there's so many other things in the world that are much bigger issues because I could care less what back during like the Clinton administration stuff, when the Monica Lewinsky trials, all that, like I could care. I don't care what he's doing under his desk. You know what I mean? Like that is not relevant to me. I care what's going on, like on Mars and stuff. Yes, but I
well, I care about Jeffrey Epstein, and he had a working relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh yes, he did.
He came to the White House 17 times, and he flew in his plane multiple times. So,
but
I'm saying his behavior.
I'm saying
I wonder if he just had a crush on Epstein.
But I'm saying I don't care about the details of these people's lives. Like I don't. Yes, Epstein was important, but as far as like, it's kind of like celebrities. The same thing. It's just distractions. But and with Biden, I always think of what's in a name. Whether and Biden, bi is two, meaning two sides, and den, I always think of like lion's den, or if you rearrange the letters, it means end. So,
well, Kamala Harris, have you done her name? And her mother's maiden name, Kamala Harris, her mother's maiden name means to be rigged.
Oh, yeah. See, I always look up the meaning of people's names. Because that goes back in, way back in my ancestry. So
I always look up Hebrew too, Hebrew, Latin, and Arabic.
I like it better to be caramel. Caramel Harris.
I'm sure some of her lovers.
That works for me. That works for me.
Name.
Yeah, that's her husband. What he probably calls her. Hey, Caramel, come here, baby. It's Oh no, she's married and got kids, man. Yeah, you never hear nothing about her husband.
She has one stepdaughter, right?
Yeah. You never hear nothing about her husband
on that he, him pronoun thing. I don't know if I think she's female, but she might present herself as male. I don't know.
It's yes, Jennifer. Lisa Marie Presley, rest in peace. I forgot she passed.
Oh my gosh, yes, that broke my heart. And I think she died of a broken heart.
That's what she died of. It was she had a coronary. Well, she's over there harassing her daddy again now, wanting to bounce up and down on his lap. I'm sure.
And her son.
Yeah, I had forgot. When they announced it, I had forgot her son.
Well, I cried reading articles.
It sucks. Today. Yeah. I keep forgetting, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch us on Roku now. We're all TV stars. Ooh, TV stars. I know what the hell, man. I do enough TV without torturing myself. I know we do. Actually, we need a new banner as well, but we'll talk about it at the meeting tomorrow. What's
stepdaughter? She has a stepdaughter named Ella Emhoff. Emhoff.
Who am I getting confused? I thought she had 2 kids. I must be thinking of somebody else.
Well, here says stepchildren. This article says stepchildren. So let me see what.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I thought there was 2 of them. That's all.
There's 2 kids, Cole and Ella.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if they were. I didn't know they were stepkids. By the way, though, that was kind of interesting to find out. Do I think Joe Biden's insane or what? Slow? You mean as in I'm gonna send him to Kansas and find out. He ain't fast. He ain't fast. The cows will eat his ass.
Okay, but just to give you a one of my friends posted on Facebook today a picture of the back. Everybody drives lifted pickup trucks and such here, of course. And on the tailgate of one,
fat boys out there, fat asses. I like to call them.
What?
That's what I like to call. They call them fat boys. It's a pickup truck with the double wheels in the back.
I thought you meant people. I was like,
no, we just call them fat asses down here. That's all. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. So, anyways, on the tailgate of this truck, which I don't agree with people. I'm not saying, because I don't promote violence of any kind, but it had across the entire tailgate was like a vinyl sticker or whatever. It looked like you could see through the tailgate, and it was Biden tied up, like literally.
Oh, I've seen that.
And I was like, man,
y'all
that's
getting into bondage now. Remember, no porn on the network.
And so people here don't give a damn what they. I
see a lot of that.
Oh, see, we need that for the show for next Friday. He could be a Beyonce baby. A Beyonce. God, I never can say that freaking name.
What?
My God. What? The show next. Then the show we're doing next Friday.
Beyonce.
I always want to add something.
I'm all prepared for that panel. I'm so excited.
Beyonce.
I got it.
We're gonna have fun. I got to remember to invite Laura Lee tomorrow because I want her there too. I mean, everybody at network can come. Just bring your thick skin and be ready for it.
I see a lot of that. I see a lot of the Confederate flag, and you know what else I see on these trucks up here in Appalachia? Bigfoot. Tons of trucks in my area that has Bigfoot stuff on the back on their tailgate.
That's because in between all them tobacco, they grow marijuana up there. That's what's going on.
I hope so. And
when I used to spend my summers up
like
there,
moonshine. I got the moonshine in the woods there. I've been
my sister. Whiskey, moonshine. Oh, good.
One of my good friends. We used to spend the summers up there planting tobacco. Too. I mean, basically, we spent the summers right on the back of the truck sticking tobacco in these little things that stuck them in the ground. But we used to get high as shit back there riding around. And then we go. Then after we were done, he would send us all to Disney World. And we'd all go spend 2 weeks in Disney World before we came back to school.
I want to say this really quick about Kentucky because I'm proud of my state and I love my state so much. Hopefully I'll run for office and hopefully they won't hold this interview against me one of these days. But we're known for basketball, horses, and bourbon whiskey, right? But we are also the #1 manufacturer in disco balls. And nobody knows that. Every disco ball that you could possibly see, we know how to party it up in Kentucky. it comes from a Louisville manufacturer factory in Kentucky. Majority, like I think that's the bulk of the nation. I don't know if it's worldwide or not.
When I was in the Navy, I spent a little time up in Kentucky too. It's I was stationed in Millington, Tennessee. No, I was stationed in Tennessee, but I used a good friend of mine, Pete Hilton. He used to anytime there was anywhere close by our city we wanted to stay in, or somewhere we wanted to go, or like if we wanted to go skydiving, he would rent a place. Well, there was a couple of really good places in Kentucky he wanted to go. So he drugged me up there and we went skydiving for the weekend and stayed at the nicest hotel he could find that was owned by the Hilton and had a blast of a time. I never could understand why he joined in the Navy. I remember I met his family in San Diego, well, actually in Los Angeles, but we were stationed in San Diego. I never could figure out why he joined the Navy. I asked him a million times too. He said, just to get away from home. I mean, they had just oodles and boodles of money. He never had to go to work. I think his whatever you call it was like $4 million a year or $5 million a year. He didn't do anything if he didn't want to.
Wow.
But he got out there. I talked to him every once in a while. He still hasn't settled into taking the family's money yet. He said he'll give it to his kid. He's just been letting it build up, and he'll say he'll give it to his kid when the time comes. It's an interesting family.
Is he single?
You know what? I don't know. I didn't ask, to be honest with you.
You know, I'm a young 42-year-old.
He watches the show, so he watches the show.
Okay, well, I'm young. I'm in Kentucky. I'm 42. I've tried Tinder. I've tried Bumble. It doesn't work for me. So
yeah, because they got the Bumbles on there. That's why.
Bumble, Tinder's terrible. Do not do Tinder. And actually, I hear that Brian Kohlberger, the Idaho 4. He was on Tinder. Tinder. Don't.
There's been so many serial killers on those.
Number 1 and 2 places to meet someone. You know what they are? You'll never guess.
Hold on. Say that again.
The grocery store?
God damn, she got it. Grocery store is number 1.
How about church?
No, well, church was like 5th.
Grocery store
and coffee shops were number 2.
Starbucks. I don't drink coffee.
They didn't say because there's other coffee shops. So I saw Starbucks, damn it.
But I don't drink coffee. I got to start drinking coffee.
I was going to say
the grocery store didn't surprise me because when I used to think I used to flirt with women at the grocery store all the time.
Okay, listen, we're going to try this out. Emily, every other weekend when I don't have my son, every other week, I'm going to go to our local Starbucks and let's see what happens.
There you go. But you got don't go to Starbucks. You got to find a different coffee house.
I was going to say you got to go to like a local.
Well, we only have Tim Hortons.
Well, because Starbucks is going to be all liberals. Can you hang out with a liberal?
Well, you don't want to go to Timmy Ho's like that. That has Ho in the name.
Yeah. That's the only coffee places we have in my town.
Oh man, Timmy Ho's. I'm just gonna let that whole thing slide, man. Just letting it go.
That's what they call it on the East Coast.
I'm just letting it go. That's all. Oh Jesus! It's on it.
That's gonna be one of my PSAs on my Facebook page. If people don't know, I do PSAs. And I'm doing a day-to-day calendar. Hopefully, going to sell for 2024. But PSA, maybe if you call Tim Hortons Timmy Ho's, I will date you.
Jackie,
Timmy Ho's. That's funny. I'm writing it down. So
you've never heard that? That's what we call it in New York and New England. That's what everybody calls it.
Timmy Ho's.
But I get it happens quite a bit actually that people hit on me at the gym, and I can't stand that. That irritates me so much. That's why I don't go to the
but at least they're seeing you, when you're sweaty and tired and stuff. So they're not, they're already looking at you when you're pretty big.
That's gross.
Yeah.
No, that's why I don't
world
go to the
sees
gym
me like that all the time.
No, when I was in my 30s and 40s, we'd be coming out from work. I mean, we'd be sweaty, nasty, dirty. I got hit on more times. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I said, I smell like a dog. I'm thinking,
because you're not trying at that. It's those times that you're not consciously making an effort that it happens that way.
I remember when I got married, it was like it became a weekly thing. I'm like, really? I was like, because I used to date a lot, but not like this. I mean, it was like every week. So I was like, this is ridiculous. When my son found that just recently, he said, Dad, I'm getting married, and all of a sudden every woman in town wants to do me. That's just how it is, man. I don't know what kind of funk that is, but it's just how it is.
And I don't work out anymore because of that, because I've had that same problem, Trish. And then the YMCA is like 30 feet from my house. I live right behind the YMCA here in Ashland. And if I do any kind of workout routines, I make sure it's an all women's group when I go over there, because that's happened. And I'm older now. I don't know if it'll happen so much now, but when I was younger,
they're watching all women's groups. Just
I don't
they're
mind.
just as
I mean,
dangerous
if a
as the
woman
guys.
hits on me, like, I'm super flattered by that. Like, I get excited about it. Like, I'm not that way, but it's different.
No, she's swinging.
Something's different. No, I ain't
swinging. You're gonna have to have a new
I ain't
acronym.
swinging either. But
I mean,
they're not so abrasive.
You know, I try to go on my own at times that I'm not going to run into any clients or anything, since, you know, when I was personal trainer. And I don't know, it's just, plus and I've heard this a lot, which is interesting. I don't know if you've ever heard this, Joe, about experiencers being abducted or some at the gym, or right before or after they I think after they go to the gym. And there's a reason for it. It's because
abducted by a serial killer or something else.
No, abducted like by aliens or the government.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking about serial killers.
Maybe here. Serial killers.
Okay, go ahead.
But it's because of you know, when you, especially if you talk about, if it is by extraterrestrials and they're going to take you somewhere besides,
don't worry, they got
your
showers.
general, then it has to do with your metabolism being increased.
Endorphins?
See, you don't pay attention when I talk, or you know why they do it.
I do
too. Smokes. Now you want to
so how often?
Start working out again, and now I'm gonna think I'm gonna get probed or something.
How often? So you go to gym a lot, you work out a lot, you're always doing it. You don't really think about it, do you? You're just doing it, right? It's just part of your life. Going to gym and working out is part of your life, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, I don't think of alien abduction. I think of Steve that's scary behind the bushes or something.
Well, see, the thing is since they know you, so they can scan your brain. So what they're looking for, they need a cover memory that's not something you can bust real easy. So they take something that they can loop, like going to the gym, working out a particular workout. You have to look for the small things in the workouts that would suggest it may just actually been in your head, and you might not have actually physically been there. So, but it's easy for them to do that because you're not going to question that memory. You're going to go, oh, well, I was at the gym. Yeah, that's cool. Look, I'm looking good too. What the hell? I'm not. You're not going to question the memory. And that's what happens in all of them. Once they switched over to that.
This was before, I think this was last year, before anything happened with Russia. And I know, I mean, this was obviously, that time was probably, you know, government related, but, and it was one night, and I got to this parking lot, and I remember seeing these giant, unmarked, completely white semi trucks, and I was like, oh, well, but I only saw the one after I was already in the parking lot, and then another one came up behind, and they like blocked me in, and that's the last thing. I had even taken like a screenshot or something of it on my phone.
You know what that is? That's a millet, but
exactly.
The other stuff,
and then all of a sudden,
the aliens
that
loop
was
your
for
memories.
That was for remote viewing. But after that, I mean, and there were numerous times that like that's happened. But then after that, I was watching, I don't even know where this came up, but so a lot of people, especially when you're talking about things that can take you, say, through a wall or a window, if you have more, that's actually why I started lifting weights back in the day to begin with, because, well, aside from it being healthy for you and stuff, but this was before I got my personal training certification, is because it's harder to take a person who has more muscle than fat through more, I guess, material with higher density.
Well, we're talking physical, but this reminds me, you talking about the psychoelectric weaponry that was accidentally released by the government that started way back in 1974. And some of these things is forced memory blanking and induced erroneous actions, reading and broadcasting thoughts, controlled dreams, forced waking visions, some synced with body motion, sudden violent itching in eyelids. It goes on: microwave hearing, transparent eyelids, artificial tendonitis, which I have tendonitis all the time, forced movement of jaw. It goes on and on and on about all this stuff. That this was just in 1974. So if this was accidentally released, and it was accidentally released in 2018, imagine what they've gone from 1974 to current. So you're talking physically speaking. So a lot of times when we are at our weakest point is when we're dreaming. But if we have high endorphins and we're working out and we're up, is that a weak area too? That maybe this might not be physical, but this might be mind controlled?
Oh, I think absolutely.
So are we really seeing aliens, or is this something that the government is like pushing in as a plan or an experiment? Like, if we do this and this waves, or however they calculate this stuff, and we do this, how many people are going to see the grays? How many people are going to see this? Like,
none of them are, because okay. To see a real gray, you have to actually see one. There's nothing the government can do to make you see one because they haven't really actually seen them. So it's kind of hard for them to push an image they haven't seen. They can try to light an image that's in your head already.
Controlled dreams, controlled
but if
visions.
it's a true contactee, they're not going to put up with it anyway. So it's the damage in whatever the government was doing.
It says this too it says it can force muscle quaking of the large muscles of the back. I don't know what muscle quaking is.
Trembling.
Force nudging an arm during delicate or messy work. Special attention to genital areas. Even in dreams. Forced precision manipulation of the hands. It goes on and on. There's all kinds of stuff and this was from 1974. So from 1974 to current, what do you think they're doing to us now? I almost think that people that have alien encounters is somewhat controlled by the government.
Well, but alien encounters started long before governments had this kind of technology.
I have both.
They had this kind of technology.
I can differentiate between the two.
MilLab, the problem with MilLabs is if you are a contact, the problem for MilLabs is they're the way they cover. But
this is just released from 1974. We don't know what they've had, but way before 1974.
But we do know what they had in the 1800s, and then in 1700s,
I don't know.
And in the 1500s. We know they didn't have that because they didn't have electricity. So the problem with this is, and you got to remember, a lot of what was used was propaganda.
We've had numerous resets. I think we were way advanced
the government,
technology.
See, this is where, and they love people who do a lot of different things in the fields because they use a lot of propaganda. They put it out there so people will pick it up and people will talk about it. And it's not even a real project. It's just propaganda. We've run across that many, many times over the years. Things we were tracking down turned out to be exactly that, propaganda. But the reason why is because they're working on something else. It's just a sleight of hand.
Why they're doing it is because they were far more advanced, in my opinion, some of these. And this came from by Washington State. It was Washington State that ended up intercepting this document. Yeah. But I can tell you what Trish said, though. You said both government and personal. So what you meant when you said both?
Oh yeah, I used not to differentiate between the two because I wasn't aware, but until I was maybe 30, 38, and then in hindsight, looking back, I could definitely. It's easy for me to distinguish between different races, even of extraterrestrials, much less of military involvement. So,
because the military leaves a fingerprint.
I think it's I think it's a battlefield of the mind, and I think that they've been trying to be mind controlling all the way back to Cold War, and way before that even. And they've come up with all kinds of different ways with laser technology and stuff, and the stuff that's coming out of Antarctica and everything with the pulses. And now we have the 5G.
I just read something. So, which is really interesting.
I get offended when people talk about 5G, by the way, but go ahead.
Well, so I was going to ask you, so both of your opinion on this, which is very interesting. I've considered naturally occurring EMPs during like Egyptian times and since the beginning of time because of the sun, we solar flares and such. So I read something It was, and now of course I'm sure I saved it somewhere, but it was regarding, and this was documented in Egypt, regarding EMPs causing almost a reset in their timeline where they started going backwards. And it had to be a certain level of, I don't know the exact term, how they test, the how high, I don't know, Joe, do you know how high, like when there's a solar flare,
electronic magnetic levels where it comes in,
like the frequency of it, yeah, how high the radiation is and such. But they had documented on timelines every time this happened, and that it reset, it caused them to kind of almost like a retrograde, but because of the EMPs. Now, what's scary in our times is that if, we have naturally occurring EMPs, but if there's also EMPs caused by man, what would that do to, we'd be going back and forth all the time and become crazy.
I think we're doing that right now. And what's the mapping?
But wait. It wouldn't work on everyone. That's the thing. It's not going to work on everyone.
Depends.
It's going to be randomly. It's going to randomly. No,
they have targeted, which we know that through.
But targeted doesn't help you when there's 8 billion people on the planet.
Well, targeting,
you can't target 8 billion people.
We have more. No. We have more encounters with certain dimensions in Colorado than what we have in Appalachia. We have more Bigfoot sightings. We have more alien sightings. We have more stuff too in these triangles. The Bermuda Triangle, I believe,
just means you're closer to the veil. That's all.
The Alaska Triangle, and I believe
Kansas is in a triangle.
I believe that, and also believe that the Skinwalker Ranch is a triangle. And I honestly believe that our government
is boring.
No, I believe our government knows that these places have high EMF, EMP, however you want to talk, and they manipulate it, and they go in with the laser and all this stuff and amplify it to make it. And also, if you look at these triangles, it's kind of like New Orleans or New Orleans, Nolans, NOLA, however you want to say it. They all sit in a bowl. All these triangles are a bowl. And so that keeps that energy there longer, in my opinion. This is opinion. I'm not a scientist or anything. And so they get more reactions or more sightings than other areas in the United States. But Antarctica, what's going on up there, that they are shooting these bolts out, and these bolts of energy are targeting these locations. It's targeted now. They've gotten so advanced that they can target. It's like the sons of God or Spears of God or something up in space. What's it called? Spears of God or something, where they can go and just like boom, bang, just one area. You'll never even know if you've been impacted at all. Can't remember what it's called.
So there is another thing you're saying. Some of these areas absorb that and hold that energy there. Like Kansas, for instance, as well as Egypt, because the pyramids were made from limestone. In Kansas, we have these huge limestone quarries, as well as a lot of our dirt roads are made from limestone, houses, foundation, things like that. Limestone is a very porous stone.
Right.
So it absorbs, even in the paranormal world, spirits, energy, things like that. So
our cave systems in the Appalachia is full of limestone. We got tons of caves here, like Carter Caves is in Mammoth Cave, which is supposedly the entry to Hollow Earth, if you believe in Hollow Earth, is here in my state. Tons of cave systems. I think our whole nation is full of this stuff.
And then imagine if you're breathing in limestone like we do here, because it's on the dirt roads. Then even in your lungs, you're also absorbing that and holding that energy. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trish.
So we're literally we could essentially become radioactive beings just from things like that, aside from the water and leaching into the water and things like, but people don't, the air is a very big, and when I first started getting, or I wouldn't say first started paying attention to psychic visions years ago, I started warning everyone to, in my family to wear masks, and it had nothing to do with the pandemic, or it was literally in the air. I was telling them around the dirt roads when they're outside, like, if my dad would be mowing the lawn or something in the summer and people are driving down those dirt roads when it's hot and dry here, and I was like, you have to wear a mask, but I didn't know why, and I got these visions, and then I kept getting messages from probably other, I don't know, other races on other planets, but they well, maybe on this planet, but they kept saying, stop Antarctica, and I'm like, I would hear that over and over and over every single night.
Well, there's a lot going on there, tons.
So
here's a question for me. This is going to be a little bit of government and scripture, Bible scripture. Bible scripture first says, if you don't praise my name, the stones will cry out. That's, the stones. We have a lot of stones up in Washington, D.C. We have a lot of monuments up there that has Bible scripture engraved in these stones. Mm-hmm. So honestly, I think this is more spiritual warfare than in many ways, but are these implements or these buildings, are they affecting the individuals that are there every day? And it's surrounded by water too. You have the Potomac and you have all the water stuff there. Like, this is a breeding ground of spiritual warfare, in my opinion.
So in pagan, in my beliefs, stone is an earth element. So you have a very powerful element. That's where, written in stone comes from, because it's the intention. If you put something in stone, it's pretty much permanent unless you break that stone. So that's infusing that stone with energy of what's written on it, which is much more powerful than putting something in a computer or even on paper, writing on paper. If you carve something in a tree or write it in stone, that it's the intention, it's the energy in that. And so if you amplify that by, it's kind of like a castle surrounded with a moat. You have water. You have water element protecting that. And then if you do other things. So that's a lot of people don't believe in elemental power, but regardless of one's religion, I think it should be considered, because that goes back. It can be seen in every part of our life, in every culture, in every religion.
Well, I argue with Christian folk. I'm a Christian, by the way. I argue not with a certain group of Christian folk in this, where, the tribes were even identified by stones. Even entering and exiting a place, even God said to put this stone in one pocket, put another stone. There's power in this, and when God says, if you don't worship my names, the stones will cry out. Even like there's a lot of power in these elemental things. Joe, I don't know if you know that your camera's off, but it's off.
Well, and stones, even crystals,
well, that's what I'm saying. Some of these tribes were represented by a specific crystal, and there were 12 tribes. They were represented, and this is where you knew where you were going to be, and this is who you're representing, and that's crystal confirmed that, and everything. And there was the breastplate that they wore. The warriors had a breastplate with those stones on them to represent themselves. Like, there's a lot of meaning and stuff behind these things. And when I go to my Christian fellow members and stuff and start talking about this, it's like they automatically X me out. I'm like, this is history in a lot of ways, and this is also spiritual in many ways. And
and look at even in the Bible, in the Christian Bible, look how the elements have been used. There was a flood. That's water. God used water,
and then
fire.
split the Red Sea, the splitting.
Yep. So, the earth was destroyed by elements, by the use of elements, fire and water and everything else too. So but yeah, stones, like, even if, it'd be interesting to do do research or like a survey where meteorites hit. Like last year, it was when I was on chasing
I put "Is Joe okay?" on there. That's me typing "Is Joe okay?" because he hasn't been on camera, and I heard him like say something.
Well, no, I'm here. I don't know why the camera went out. No, I've been listening. I was
okay.
While y'all were talking, I've been looking for this pic. So go ahead.
He's burning sage because we mentioned
that's
the Bible.
The Bible.
I don't believe anything that was written 200 years after the guy was written about.
I don't believe anything written by man. So I mean, there's that. But I want to hear what you were going to say on 5G, Joe.
Yes.
Well, the 5G shit cracks me up because people ask me, they tell me all the time, well, 5G.
I think 5G was way before they announced it.
Why are y'all scared of 5G? Answer that question for me. What is it that you're scared of?
I have an
electronic wave. So go ahead. And then I know what kind of wave it is because it's what I used to do.
Microwave technology.
I have an answer for that. So after the shutdown, well, the first one was before, but after is more compelling evidence. After the shutdown, right when everything started opening up again, like summer of 2020, I believe.
2021.
Well,
opening up. I'm Appalachia, so
yeah. In
I went through a very hard time. I didn't go back up until 2021.
So after the shutdown, all of a sudden, on my way to work and such, I noticed all these new towers, like bright, fancy, everything, and I had a heart attack again.
Physically?
Right by.
You had a physical heart attack?
Yeah. And so my doctor said he had been studying for years and was a specialist in electromagnetic energy sensitivity. So it got to a point where everywhere, and especially right after the heart attack, I was so devastated because I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't, aside, I could go to my parents' house, but they live in a, like they have the steel siding or whatever, aluminum siding, that probably protects against a lot of that. But as far as even now, and I think about like how it probably affects the animals and stuff in the same way, because I would be hiking at a lake or something, and at my heart, I would start getting AFib again. Would start beating out of rhythm, and I would come to a tower that was disguised as a tree or something in the middle of the forest.
I know.
And so I'm like, I can't go anywhere because this is going to kill me. Like these towers, and every time, I promise you, every time they turn those on, because I can physically tell, and so can my daughter, we get physically ill immediately.
What about MRIs, Trish?
I can't be near X-ray machines or anything now because I'm after a few heart attacks and strokes, So, I mean, I've been electrocuted a lot too. So, but
electrocuted. Hold on, I gotta know about this. Hold on a second.
You're just messing with poor Emily's having issues.
No, but this. It can't be just me. I'm like, this is if this is
ultra low and okay. I know y'all heard of ELF before. Ultra low frequencies. It was a program the government used to. Well, they used to run this program, especially if you lived in the heartland or out west, like Arizona, Nevada, places like that. Kansas, yes. So places like that. Kentucky was another one of them. So it's ultra low frequency. It was driving women crazy. Because it was driving dogs crazy because dogs were hearing it all the damn time.
Yeah.
And women's frequency levels were picking it up more than men's were, even though both were. But the original study was to see, first off, if it made a difference in your behavior, which of course it did. So they learned through that certain sound waves can cause you to do certain things. Again, it was just shown to us just recently when Obama was president. And
of course, when Obama was.
Well, anyway, it happened in Cuba. When they went across the street and they pointed a dish at our people and screwed them all up. So this is stuff this is old hat technology. Problems is narrow band is hard to control and get it to do what you want it to do. Plus, narrow band has to be more intense, which means it can
electromagnetic attack weapons. That's the stuff I was talking about that was released by the government.
So I used to work on all these different kind of electric systems when I was in the Navy, especially aboard the Enterprise. I mean the Nimitz. There were certain type of systems we had like EMP. We had an EMP system that would go out and cause a pulse. You could just direct it at a plane or another boat and wipe out their electronics. This is old hat. This is stuff I haven't been in service in 40 years. So this is all old hat technology. None of this is new technology. The problem is there was an agreement amongst the 5 most powerful nations that they would not use it because it could trigger a nuclear. It could cause a nuclear event. The only time it was ever used heavily, we almost launched nuclear weapons against China.
So I want to just include this. Okay, this what that you're talking about started or was founded in 1865, everybody, with the introduction of laser technology.
Not laser like we use
That's what
today,
it's saying right here. Electrodynamics in 1865. With the introduction of the laser, it became clear that it was also possible to emit a beam of light
You're being dishonest because it's not like a laser today.
Hold on.
It's nothing
it's
like
clear
that.
It's also possible to emit a beam of light in one single direction with the speed of light in the directions perpendicular to the direction of propagation equals 0. And this is ELF. It's called extreme low frequency lasers. Yes, and this is the electromagnetic. Now this is.
Do you know what else they were used for?
Hold on. Let me finish this. And I'll let you. This is 1865, and then they accidentally released this electromagnetic weaponry in 1974. So if we know this stuff's happening and it might have been created, this is Maxwell's theory, is what they also put it down as. 1865, then 1974. What are they doing now?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are they doing now?
So to clarify some of this, some of these programs were canceled because they would do things like kill great swaths of birds. I mean, it would just kill. I mean, you'd see 50,000 birds.
That's what I'm saying. If it
we're seeing that now.
That's what I'm saying. So when you see
that's
these,
what happens. And
they have these side effects that the keepers won't tolerate. Because it draws too much temperature.
Between 2.0 hertz equals.
But y'all still ain't telling me why you worry about 5G. You know, 5G and 4G are the same thing. It's just faster.
I just told you because I couldn't go anywhere without I couldn't go near anywhere within the vicinity of a tower without having a heart attack.
That's just because you're frequency sensitive. You're not. There's lots of people like you, believe it or not.
That's what I'm saying. So it's sad if we couldn't go anywhere on this earth because there's 5G.
You know how I found out about frequency that people like you. I was in the Navy. And a friend of mine, we were waiting for his wife to come pick him up. You know, we just got in. We were waiting for him to come pick it up. She got 10 feet to the carrier and passed out.
Yeah.
And they thought it was something else. Or she was pregnant. Well, anyway, the doctors figured out because the ship gives off, even back in the day, it gives off this frequency that's supposed to help protect it. And it was because we were used to it. We were on board. You didn't think about it. Most of the time you hear it in the center of it, and it was out pulsing around you.
This article says, you know why this is so effective. It says it's a weapon system would be extremely effective in modern warfare because it's not necessarily a nuclear attack, but
it can't be detected.
But it can shut down computer systems, it can shut down data systems, it can shut down software, and it can also shut down humans that are sensitive.
Mm-hmm. And it can. People who are
it's they got no-go areas. No, there is actually.
But they also got high frequency too. We're talking about low frequency, but they've got ultra high frequency weapons too. This is all old hat.
None of this is talking about this electromagnetic.
But none of this is new technologies, and there's reasons why it's not being applied. You have to remember something about our military.
But it is being applied.
It is being applied. It's being applied in our factories, especially with I've done so much research with all of our farmland factories and stuff and all these fires that happen and all this wiping out. We were hacked a year before, and all of our grain and all of our chicken farms, we were hacked a year before all this stuff shut down and it deals with this. I almost think now it's ELF, laser weaponry. I believe like they targeted, which is also called, maybe they call them the sons of God. up in space that they come down and they fight. It's laser, it's specific, and Antarctica is involved. And it says 2,000 hertz will not damage buildings. So this is greater than 2,000 hertz. Russia was doing experiments with this modern ELF laser weaponry back in the 1800s, which was not called Russia.
So
like
Russia
I said, this is old
had
technology.
some. They had contracts with Kansas doing radiation experiments back in the 60s and 70s in writing. It was a few months ago that some of the declassified documents were released, that a few of those have still not been had still not been carried out yet.
We've done hundreds of shows on these kind of weapons.
But that's what I'm saying. So Joe, imagine if you couldn't step, like, basically you.
But they're not using the weapon on you, you goofus. You're just a side effect of the weapon.
5G. Yes. So imagine if you
that's what I'm
saying.
Leave
your house.
But they're not. But that's the thing, and you can learn to get around it. By the way, it's but they're not aiming the 5G at you. It's just because you're sensitive. It affects you.
I'm saying
the rest of our country it doesn't.
Next, like anywhere near a tower, which there's 800 and some just in the Topeka area.
Yeah, but they're not all 5G. They're not all 5G. Keep that in mind. A lot of towers.
I think the majority of them are 5G.
No, not right now. No, because we're buying airtime on towers.
I have friends that work on these towers.
No, that's
it doesn't matter. We're buying airtime on them. They're not. The
if you look at the 5G map that they have. There's probably more than that, but this is the only ones they list. If you look at the 5G map where they show where the towers are, it says there's over 800 and some in my area, and that
is your area in that triangle, Trish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so there's a government website that you can go and look up where in the entire world where these are located, and Kansas and Missouri have some of the most as far as the United States goes, and each state varies as far as how many they allow, I guess, to have.
They're set up. Okay, they're set up. So depending on what kind of phone you got is what you're going to pick up. But the towers have 4G, 4G Lite, 5G, 5G Lite. Because not all phones.
So Android to iPhone.
I didn't even have. I had a flip phone forever because I didn't want any of that. And then they said they're doing away with even allowing flip phones on there. Of course.
Oh yeah, a lot of flip
now
phones
you have to get an Android or an iPhone.
Yeah. But even if you get Android, sometimes they're still 4G. It's
so I didn't have.
But I got a good thing for y'all. Okay, I got a good thing for y'all. So 5G is all great and all, but we're running terabytes now. So why would you worry about 5G when there's terabytes? I mean, my speed right here. I'm sitting here
like 10
500 gigs.
Yeah, I almost think 5G was around way before it was announced. So in many aspects,
the point is, it's nothing compared to where we are on the waves. I mean, we have. It doesn't matter.
The government. This is all government, and they're messing with our minds and messing with our bodies and messing with our.
So you should get far away from your computer because you're probably running 150 gigs right
probably.
now.
You should see my light.
That's 150
G. Send it to you right now, Joe.
But that's what I'm saying. So you're worried about 5G when you sit on top of 150
I'm not really that worried. Like 5G does not affect me like Trish does. There's some people that's super more sensitive than me.
You got better things in Louisiana, guys. All I got to say.
That's what I'm saying. So when you talk about like my kids being sensitive to it and stuff, and they started in the beginning announcing when they were going to turn it on and off here in Kansas, anyways. And guaranteed on those days, and this wasn't during full moons, it's even worse when they turn it on because then everybody, there's car accidents, there's all kinds of stuff. Like you wouldn't believe the
I worked in an ER in urgent care for 13 years, and we always knew when it was a full moon before we even would, And even in a restaurant, I was a server too in a restaurant. I'm like, is it a full moon weekend? I have a friend of mine, Kristen, that still works in the restaurant. She always messages me, it's for full moon, it's a weekend, and I'm working. I'm like, I'm praying for you.
So then think about all of that, and that they were coinciding, turning these, because they would announce when they were going to turn in the beginning, when they were just, testing it out or whatever, they would announce when they were going to turn it on. And every time they turned them on coincided with the full moon, like the 3 days before, 3 days after. But then if you pay attention, especially here, right outside every single cemetery, there is a major 5G tower, which is pretty messed up.
That makes me want to go
every single one of them. So I can't even go to cemeteries anymore, Joe, and do my witchy stuff because there's 5G towers there.
So that makes me want to look in my area. Trish, I never thought about that.
To help you understand this, it's not the 5G you have to worry about. It's whatever else is being broadcasted off that tower. 5G is I don't even know how to explain this to y'all. It is like the wimpiest thing out there. It has no real power, no real wave strength. If you put it on an ohm meter, it's almost a flat. It just doesn't have that much strength. I mean, that's why they have to have so many towers in the first place for 5G. It can barely go 2 miles down the road.
Yeah, I don't know the technical aspects of it. I just know when they turn those lights on,
I disagree with that. I think it goes way further.
So, but what people don't realize
I have a heart attack.
There's a lot of things broadcasted off of cell phone towers. Sometimes there'll be microwave boxes on them. Sometimes there'll be television boxes on them. Sometimes there'll be radio boxes on them. So, it's probably not the actual 5G that's bothering people. I mean, look at New York City. It's swamped with 5G and there's 8 million people there. It doesn't seem to be affecting anybody. And
but
not just that. Think about Los Angeles.
That. You know what I mean?
But think about Los Angeles, another huge city, or even Mexico City. It's something else. And it's always bothers me. I mean, because I put these kind of systems together for a long time. There's nothing really in them that's going to hurt humans or really feather humans. It's not the broadband that's doing it. That's not what's going on. There's something else that the 5G is a rollout for whatever they're doing. It's just an excuse. Oh, we're going to upgrade everybody to internet. So think about this. Your computer will run anywhere from 100 gigs to a terabyte, but your phone can only run 5 gigs. Give me a freaking break. What kind of bullshit is that? They need something because that's a slow bandwidth. It's not very fast. It's what I'm saying. It has to have lots of power to go anywhere. You have to have multiple towers everywhere.
There's side effects. They're
creating a web. But there's other things on them on those towers than just cell phone pads.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying the towers are what caused me to have whatever's on them in them. When they light
also
up.
Too, in all fairness, too, any cell phone tower, it can be running 2G. If you get really close to it, it can screw with your electrical system in your brain. There ain't even no doubt, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It's something that can happen quite easily. And that's how they actually. I think it was.
So what's it going to do to all these cars, all these electric cars coming out?
About the cars at all, they'll be shielded from it, just like most of our electronics are shielded from it. So you see, it's affecting you, but it's not affecting your computer. It's not affecting your television. It's not affecting anything. Day. Yeah, man. But what I mean by it is overall, because if it did, that would get people's attention and people would start looking at it. So whatever they're doing is underneath the 5G. The 5G was just an excuse to build more towers so they could create webs. So they have something bigger in mind than this, and probably something that they can use down the line. It'll probably either be in a really ultra high frequency or a really low frequency, but it's not going to be in this broadband shit.
Is it Norway or Sweden has like 14G or 10G or something ridiculous already?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
They've had it for a while.
Well, the Brits are also higher than us too. So this is just broadband, and broadband is broadband, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5G or 50G or 100G, it doesn't really matter. What's going on here, and this is why so many people get this wrong, is they're buying the bullshit. This is what I said earlier. They're buying the propaganda, the 5G. This was started by the government. They're the ones that started going around saying 5G was going to do this harm. So people buying the propaganda and looking at the wrong thing.
I don't know.
There's so many towers that have to be built. It's it's ridiculous. There's actually better ways to run cell phone systems than the way we do it. We just use this system because it's allowing us. I'll tell you a little secret about 2021. No, it wasn't even then. It was 1996, 1997. There's an F-117 Stealth flying across Britain. It's in the wooded area, but it's flying. It's in a regular area where it's not, where it's not real crowded. There's two young boys on a cell phone. Guess what they detected? The stealth fighter coming through. They could use the cell phone tower to detect the stealth fighter, and they can still do it in the United States today. So if we've got a web running across our country, it's another form of defense too. They're gonna integrate a lot of stuff in this. They're just not gonna tell us. I guarantee you right now, currently, there's 50 or 60 ways. I know when I used to set up wave pads, a wave pad's one of the things you see on the tower, they're usually round or triangle. They catch signals and send signals on. So there'll usually be two on, one on each side. We were doing 20 signals back then. I can only imagine they're probably doing 50 to 100 today. Each one of them signals represents something. Some of it's going to be energy. Some of it's going to be technology. We can actually transmit in light now. So a lot of that stuff is the way we transmit, like when we use fiber optics and things like that, we're sending it on, we're transmitting in light. So there's a lot of this going on, but there's going to be signals they're not going to tell us about. Some signals may actually protect us from low-level bombers or stealth like that, or it could actually even set off faulty equipment. But some of them might be put in there as a stun field, basically. So if you've got enough cell phone towers over an area, and you're running this pattern through there and you hit stun, it'll stun everybody below the field, not above the field. So it won't hurt aircraft or anything like that, but anything below the field that would stun. This again is old technology. It was funny when I was in the Navy.
We're going to live in the sky? Like,
no, we're just going to be part of our underlords until somebody figures it out. So I'll tell you,
why it doesn't affect larger, the studies they've done on birds, for instance. It doesn't affect the larger, like eagles, hawks, falcons, but they fly higher, much higher than.
Is that why they are almost extinct? These birds that fly higher.
Well, right now we're about to damn poor birds flying into the windmills in Texas. Y'all ever been out in Texas to windmills? Oh my God, they're constantly suicide.
Birds aren't real, Joe. Birds aren't real.
The birds aren't real. Leave the poor birds alone. Don't hate on the birds.
They all got cameras. They all got
it's funny you said that. About 25 years ago, this young lady that lived in Phoenix told me she used to have a bird that come in her when she knew it was a camera. She knew they were watching her, and I said, maybe not. Come to find out, the bird she painted and drew was one that they were using back in that particular era, which was strange. Every now and then you catch something, fortunately, I know a lot of people in the military and a lot of people out, but it's you just catch stuff.
But
sometimes being in the field I was in, I was privy to a lot of this.
They weren't okay. For instance, this morning, I always associate crows with police officers, only because in Manhattan, when that giant spaceship was over the city, there were thousands of crows. I'm not even talking they didn't even look like they were enormous. They weren't ravens, they were crows. But they were on the lookout for everything. And so this morning when I went outside, I heard this crow, and to me, I always take that as a warning, and even if you go back in ancestry, the Vikings used them, the Druids, everything, because they would alert them to the enemy coming or whatever.
Crow's good eating too.
What's that?
Crow's good eating too.
So I hear this crow call, right? And I was like, uh-oh. And all of a sudden there was this police chase through my alley, and they had some guy, but I thought that was because that happens all the time, that birds alert sometimes.
Oh, birds alert all the time.
Yeah.
They did, when they swarm and all that kind of stuff, and then something happens. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can find a clip, and maybe I can play it real quick. Go ahead, keep talking, Trish. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
no, that's all I had. That they whether good or bad. But yeah, I've always thought about that. If you go back to like Mary Poppins, feed the birds,
Now,
and
if you
Yeah,
live in a
Mary
state
Poppins.
like she does, like Emily does in Kentucky, and they decide to use this field, if you get above the tower, it won't affect you. So you can
that's why I
climb
said I
because you
want to
can
live in
walk.
a tree house. What if I live in like have a loft?
And you know what's interesting is how low cell phone towers are to the ground. They are, as far as towers
They
go,
are
they're low.
they're low.
They're, but I'll tell you a little secret too, and I shouldn't be saying this because we probably got 3 million people listening. If the end times come, cell phones are great things for one reason. They're all self-efficient. They usually come with their own energy, usually either solar or gas or some type of propane. They have air conditioners in the places. You can just gut them and use them as your little place, and they're all over the place. So it's like built-in little refuges for the humans when the end times come. Yeah, you know what? We
I
learned
know.
that.
I believe we're in end times in many ways, but I'm going to tell you this: one of the very first thing, if I ever have to go hermit mode, I'm getting rid of my phone.
They
we already don't need phones to communicate. You can, if I wanted to, I could communicate with somebody halfway across the world, just send out a mental message. Everybody has that capability. Everybody can do that.
see the problem with end times is the way we measure time and the way they measure time.
There's no
So
the end is the
so
beginning.
for
The
a day
beginning
for
is
them
the
it's
end.
like
There's no end
500,000
times.
years down here.
But then everything just starts over. It's like the what is it? The
always a reset. There's always a
snake.
reset.
The
Christopher. Yeah, we'll do that in the future. No, I won't do it, but we'll let one of the other hosts if y'all want to do. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
What is
I've
it?
argued. He's just a gentleman. He wants to. He's arguing about the Bible. I said. We'll set up a show. Yeah, y'all can go at it all night long. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't get into arguing about.
I don't
the
like to get in arguments, but I'll get in discussions.
I said,
hold on, I might have to share my screen on this one to show you all this because I thought this was on Twitter, but I don't. Or Twitter on TikTok.
Yeah, Twitter said I couldn't have my $150,000 page back. Pissed me right the hell off. By the way.
Well, you need to submit that in.
I already did submit it. They told me no. Elon, if you're listening tonight, baby, come on now. You know I love you. You got to hook me up.
Oh, Elon is, and I've seen a lot about this just in the last week. That where people are quoting him stating that he doesn't believe extraterrestrials exist because there's no solid evidence, and he goes on to say that he thinks he would be the first to know because of Starlink. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know if it's true or not because
thoughts.
I heard him talking with. He did a guest appearance with Bigelow from Bigelow Aerospace, and they discussed it in great deal. And they both thought that there was life in the universe and probably much more intelligent than we are. Now, they never talked about anything visiting this planet in any shape, form, or fashion, but they had no problem with there being life outside of us.
In the one that he talked about, he specifically said, I agree that there's a probability that there can be life in other dimensions. In our universe, maybe we're unique in the fact that he said maybe we're the only consciousness, or something. But and maybe some of those people had, of course, all these journalists and everything had older interviews that they were taking that information from. But I thought it was interesting, like all of a sudden, of course, everything comes back around and there's all these quotes of him saying that. Which I found interesting. And then he goes on to say that many people think he's an alien. And I'm like,
alien or a Nephilim or
when he was
those to me.
Yeah.
I believe. Okay, this is how I believe. I believe that fallen angels come from the sky. Okay, and the stars used to make music. The stars used to sing and all this kind of stuff. Satan, Lucifer, however you wanted to classify him, there's 2 names for him. Sat on the the side of the north, which was above God, Jesus, 3 in 1 there, and he believed he was beyond God and that he was going to become more powerful. And he's the praise and worship leader of the heavens, and he takes a third of the stars with him from the side of the north. If you go to Antarctica in the north, you'll see it's a blank sky. There's no stars there, and they take him down. So these aliens that come from the skies, in my opinion, are demonic beings. But we also are dealing with the sons of God, the Nephilim, and the cross genders with the giants, and they come from in Job. It talks about how God would have meetings, and the sons of God would come to them, plus Satan would join him. So I believe that there might be possibly other planets. Satan, according to scripture, is over our world in itself. He has dominion here. This is his planet for a certain amount of time, and it's going to be taken over. But where are these other people? It kind of goes with the lamb and the 99. And God leaves the 99 to come for this one planet. Are we the planet that God's coming for? Jesus is coming for to save and bring back, and things like that. But that's a whole. I have to have scripture and everything. I can't do that right now because I was not prepared for this.
Just go by what the Pope says. Yes, there's extraterrestrial.
No, I don't believe in the Pope.
Go by what the Monsignor saying, and the rest of them all say yes.
Can I share a screen and show the birds? Can I do the birds?
Yes, throw the birds.
Alfred Hitchcock had it best. The birds. He knows.
Oh my God, she's killing birds, people. I have nothing but. She's a murderous bird killer. I don't know what this is about.
Alfred Hitchcock. Oh, why is it not doing that? Here it is. Alfred Hitchcock knew what he was talking about when it comes to the birds. I'm going to make this a big screen here. Hopefully, if y'all see it. Okay, there we go. Here we go. Here's the birds. 1 minute.
You may have seen that dramatic video of hundreds of birds literally falling from the sky into a neighborhood. What on earth was going on?
It's perfectly calm when suddenly
right through the field.
Happens. Blackbird. Hundreds of them, like a plume of black smoke. A moment later, many of them fly off, but lots are killed on impact. The video was caught on our surveillance. So what's going on here? There is speculation the birds were hit by toxic.
What?
But this expert says they were likely under
the predator. This hawk or falcon is coming in.
To Ron. Ron, we need to contact Ron in Miami and have him
more
on
than
a
likely
show.
they just flew through one of the fields. I mean, I've seen it happen many a times. You know, it's most people don't know this, and I hope this ain't gonna get me in trouble. It's the military, Navy, and all them run these things to keep the birds away from the ships for two reasons. One, they can fly inside of jet engines and cause major damage. People don't realize a little baby bird this big can bring a damn airplane down. And two, they can screw with the radar systems. So they actually have a field that they run that keeps them away from the ships.
That was in Mexico. I don't know where it was in Mexico.
But I also...
Right behind me, Masson, he'll know.
So, Joe, do you think that... So I have a hawk that used to follow me literally everywhere. And then every time it actually, like, basically came to almost my doorstep every time, you know, like one time I lived across from a forest, and I came home from work one day and contractors had leveled the forest. And the hawk was just sitting there. I mean, look, completely defeated, like on the ground, like. So every time that's happened, and just recently, like a few years ago at my house, not where I live now, but in Kansas, the hawk was there, and then all my trees were cut down there too. And so that keeps happening. So and trees protect against, you know, for instance, in my yard now, when they cut down all the trees there, they were holly trees. Holly trees actually deflect electric, like they will protect against lightning strikes and things like that. That's why they are considered sacred. And so, especially in like witchcraft and stuff, because aside from protecting from evil spirits and stuff, but they also protect against electricity. And so a lot of these times that certain birds have shown up, do you think, Joe, that some of those could also be interdimensional or ETs? I mean, like sending a warning, like, well, now you're not protected anymore. There's my watcher.
Anything's possible. Well, we know that it was really weird, but under hypnosis, we found this out a couple of times, that people who had like spirit animals turned out to be, under deep hypnosis, turned out to be something else, which was creepy the first time I actually seen one transform. That was really, really creepy. But, you know, I can tell you a secret, ways to keep most of the fields away from you. One, unfortunately, is moving very close to an Air Force base or an active Navy base where there's jets being flown. What they do is there's a
I live
low-level
right by
field.
one.
Well, there's a low. Stay as close as you can because they apply a low-level field around the base that's supposed to swat off most of these other types of fields. It's It just depends what they're doing at the base, but a lot of bases don't have them because they're not needed. But mostly the Air Force bases, especially where they find some of the bigger stuff, there'll be a field around them. So if you live within a 2-mile radius or a 1.5-mile radius, usually it swarts off most of the weird fields. That's why they can't really use 5G around them and screw them up. It doesn't grow. I mean, folks don't realize how many signals just a normal base is sticking out. If you ever go watch or drive around one and look and see how many of these microwave pads they've got, which sends a whole sort of array of signals. I mean, they're just pumping stuff out into the air. A lot of it's just communication, but you never know what the rest of it is because there's no way of really telling. I mean, unless you can get up there and sample it now, you probably could. There's ways to do it, but if you get caught, you probably have to find your ass in jail too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So for me, sure, I'm safe from extraterrestrials if I live near a military base, but I'm not safe from the military if I live near a military base.
You ain't safe from ET.
And then if I'm off the base, then I'm not safe from extraterrestrials. So really, I'm screwed.
We're not safe at all at this point.
Actually,
I'm gonna
if you want to know the truth,
I'm not going to go off grid.
Listen, I'm not going to say the name of this place on air because I don't want to be a mass move down to this place. But there are 3 places I know in the United States that are null zones. Nothing affects them. There's no alien abductions there. There's no military abductions there. There's no waves. No, they're not dead zones. They're null zones. It's a little bit different than being a dead zone because your phone will still work.
What's it called again, Joe?
It's a null zone.
How do you say that? NULL?
Yeah, it's just an area. It's usually not that big.
It's in robots.
Maybe a small city. A lot of times there'll be a lot of activity around them. But for some reason, now what they could actually be is where you keep your test sample. Well, no, when you're doing a study and you have the people who are getting the vaccine and the people who aren't, that it might be zones like that. They're intentionally leaving you alone to see what's going to happen. But regardless what it is, there's null zones. It's just stuff just doesn't go in there. And I'll tell you how we found this out. So ET always keeps a telepathic communication or contact with all of its abductees. It's always in the back of your head somewhere. Well, the first time we ever drove anybody into this place, it went away. They were clear-minded. They wanted to move there the next day.
Hold on, time out. So, say that one more time, Joe.
What?
Are we going into this field or this area like cluttered in our mind, like of all of the stuff that we've gone through, spiritual warfare, all this stuff, and then when we once go through this field and we get into this dead zone or null zone or
it's like quiet.
All that leaves us. We don't remember it.
No, it's not that you don't remember it. You just don't. It doesn't touch you anymore. It doesn't affect you. It's no longer part of your life. It has been blocked out. There's no way for it to penetrate. No, you remember it. Just no way for it to penetrate. No, you still remember it.
So I don't think she doesn't. So for experiencers, we constantly have this, like he said, this communication with ETs or with the government or whoever's been, messing with our minds all the time for every decision, everything, every sensory that goes through your
freaking mind.
So he's saying that in these places that wouldn't have like for myself, I'm literally like if you would imagine
torture,
a radio feed, like a scanner, and you hear all of these different frequencies, communication coming in. So I've got that not only from spirits or people that are about to die or people that are whatever, angry or whatever, but also from, I pick up on police scanners. I pick up on probably military. I pick up on.
So this for you would be a vacation. Yeah, you would love this.
But hold on.
Pick up on some of this
silence
in my mind.
Well, how often does anybody get silence in their mind on just everyday life? But hold on. Where I do paranormal investigations, and I grew up in a musically talented family. Sound and music and notes and all that kind of stuff is very familiar to me. I can pick up, not that I'm bragging by any means when I'm saying this, but if a place is truly haunted, I can get a Class A EVP within 5 minutes or less of a location. And that's my expertise, if you want to say it's an expert thing. I've done EVPs. The people I've worked with on TV, off TV, they can tell you I can get EVPs. But to me, in some ways, I can turn it on and turn it off. If I want to go into a haunted location, I know this place is a haunted location. I know that there's probably most likely going to be EVPs. I am not ready to listen to those things until it's ready for me.
Right. Absolutely. Many psychics and medium, I can turn off the spirit world. Absolutely. But if you're talking about the military or extraterrestrials, you can't turn that manipulation off. You can't turn it off. It's not a choice.
Because I have not gone
if you've
that
got,
route.
if you've got implants and such in you, you can't turn that off. You don't.
So what do you mean by implant? Do you have an implant? Well, are you talking about pacemakers? Implants.
No, like extraterrestrial.
I worked in healthcare for 13 years. So when you say implants, I'm sitting thinking about things they're wanting to put. Elon Musk is wanting to put stuff in their brain. NASA's been putting stuff in our military's brains. Since
look at it from a different point. Think of what Elon Musk is wanting to do, but think of it in a biological form. So not in a chip form. It's alive. What they're using is live. It's not physical technology.
That's even more scary.
It's actually alive. So there's been many doctors, and it's actually been got in movies because there's been many doctors who have tried to remove them and they moved.
Yeah.
They even got them on video when they've done it. You can tell the difference between a government implant and a ETs because ETs are way more advanced and governments are usually. And
there should not be an implant in your body that you don't approve of.
No, yeah. Well, you're not going to stop them. So.
I was going to say,
good luck on trying to stop them is all I can tell you.
I was going to say, yeah. So yes, absolutely. If you're talking about paranormal, I could shut that off all day. I'm not, but I'm talking about stuff that you can't shut off, and that's what he was referring to. There's places that you can go that those things. It's apparently their implants wouldn't work, or their communication or manipulation wouldn't work.
You can.
Well, how do you know you have an implant?
I've had. Through X-rays,
we met many people with implants. Some of my favorite ones were when the government first started putting them in. They would make the barcode scanners go up at the grocery store and shit.
Yeah, I do that all.
It's crazy.
And then during the shutdown, when everything was opening back up again, I made the forehead scanners for the damn temperature whatever face thing that you would go through in buildings. Alarms would start going off when I go through that thing. It scans my. I can't.
Come out. When I was dating my narcissist, he's a paranormal person too, and he's out there. Believe me. 3.5 years. Lawsuits are coming and all this kind of stuff. Narcissist. But when I was dating him, I'm going to tell you what happened. I was super sensitive. I became hyper aware of everything. I was on edge all the time because of how he was. And my family noticed it. He noticed it. I even noticed it when I would go into places and they had a cashier, computer in each. I would shut all. They would always have some kind of issue, some kind of problem, and they would shut down.
Hypnotize Emily. No, never mind. I ain't hypnotizing you. You'll lose.
Well, the computers would
if
shut
what
down.
comes out of your head comes out, you'll lose your mind.
There was always some kind of technical disconnect or something.
Yeah. So after,
I
broke my hand. I broke my wrist one time, right? And they did an X-ray, and all of a sudden, there's this thing in my
wrist, my left.
Yeah, so they did an X-ray, and there was this thing in my. They're like, and it's crazy, but it was probably like the military hospital or whatever at the time, so they didn't say anything. They didn't even. They're like, I'm like, what is that? And they're like, they just like go blank and don't notice it or whatever. But anyways, after that, I knew when that had happened because my dog got one exactly like it on the opposite paw at the same time. So anyways, So I'm sure that one's a military implant, but regardless, when I would go through and scan my debit card at, I have to be really careful because on certain days, it will completely demagnetize my card, zap out the card reader. Like there was one time I just thought
What about Thursdays? I want to know if it's Thursdays.
Thursdays. No, seriously. Thursdays used to be the worst day for me for anything like that to happen.
Yesterday, twice yesterday. And I told the guy that the second person, I said, this always happens to me on a Thursday.
I couldn't walk through security scanners at airports. I couldn't walk. I started having to wear one of those wrist braces to cover it up so it wouldn't set off the damn alarms at like Best Buy, anywhere I'd go through the door. Oh yeah.
Hold on, you're talking about something in your body. I'm talking about my chip in my debit card that Thursdays, I will not use my chip on Thursdays, my card. Like I have to, like it's in, like I have to sit and think it will not work on Thursdays.
Well,
PNC Bank.
Well, Thursdays just used to be a day that I had anything bad as far as health wise or computers or whatever.
So what's happening on Thursdays then? What's happening on Thursdays?
Listen, let's mess with these weirdos' heads. That's what's going on.
Right.
And I'm born on Friday the 13th. It's Friday 13th tonight. Today's not my birthday. It's March.
Well, Thursday, I think Thursday historically goes back all the way to, well, the first time they started documenting dates by calendar. So if you think about, you're talking about like the Thursday is known as Thor's Day, as far as the gods and such, and so even prior to that, back when I was very religious, and these things always happened to me on a Thursday, as far as I had all these different injuries, and it was always on a Thursday, and it was always at the same time. I even screenshotted all different times my heart rate would go up for no reason on Thursday night at like 8 p.m. And it was always on a Thursday. And I'm like, what the heck? And so back then, again, when I was religious, you go back through biblical documentation. And, it was like the night that I believe it was a Thursday. Now, now I'm not. That Jesus was crucified, or
it's a Friday.
He actually died.
Friday the 13th or something. Friday was the crucifixion, supposedly.
Well, but they actually, hung him on the cross on a Thursday. So all of these things go back to Thursday through different religions, not just Christianity. Through, like I said, through Greek and Roman gods and goddesses. So there's something about a Thursday. I think it has to do with, planetary alignments, and the Earth's poles and things like that also affect people's organs and their bodies. They would also, I would assume, affect electronics. So I think that has something to do with it. But then you get into like numerology and portal times and days and things like that too.
Crazy. Well, you just remind me of something. My son's middle school. He's a basketball player. I played college basketball for 1 year, and then resigned from that. Went to Bible college. Thought I was called to ministry. My brother played college basketball. My son's father played college basketball. Basketball is in our veins here. And we're UK, Kentucky, University of Kentucky Wildcats.
Oh, we're KU.
We're BBN all the way, Big Blue Nation. But Thursday, it reminded me back in the days when I played high school ball. And I remember my coach getting on to me. And some of I started varsity in 8th grade. They called us the Kentucky Hoosiers because there was only 8 of us. We got 3rd in state my junior year in high school. Worked really super hard. I was like 6th in the state of Kentucky at 3-point shots. There was plenty of colleges I could have gone to. I did accept, and then ended up leaving after 1 year because of my high school. That's a whole other high school sweetheart type thing, and Bible college and ministry. That's a whole other topic. But anyway, I remember sitting there at some games, and my coach was getting on to me, and it happened multiple times, and getting on to me about some things, and I would forget some plays or something by accident, not on purpose. Obviously, I worked really hard, but my colleagues there, my people I played sports, they'd be like, Coach Hanny, it's a Thursday. Emily's always off on a Thursday.
So it also has to do, there's so much that goes into it, but even if you get into chakras, Thursday it can be associated with your throat chakra. It can be associated with your nervous system, things like that. So
I have generalized anxiety disorder. I am diagnosed with that, but I never thought of Thursday until tonight.
Your brow chakra. So that would affect your brain. Literally.
I guess I never realized because it was Thirsty Thursdays though.
Thirsty Thursday. See you next Tuesday.
Thirsty Thursday. See, so think of your throat chakra.
Drink your way right through it.
Let's take a drink.
I have no idea what these two crazies are talking about now.
It's like
Jeremy's like, what the hell? No. What do you mean?
Mentioned it, and here we go. I'm having technical issues on my end. I never heard of that, and then I'm sitting there thinking of all the times through basketball season, my colleagues, the people I played with, they kept going, Miss Hanny, it's a Thursday. Emily's off on Thursdays. It's true. It's true. We had Monday night games and we had Thursday night games. And I always outplayed myself on Monday nights. Like, I always beat records, everything. I was going to be in the Hall of Fame at my school. That's a whole other story. And then Thursday nights, it was just like, what happened? What happened between Monday and Thursday? That's the truth. So I don't know if it's me being young and thinking and not knowing this energy type levels or stuff that happened back then or not, but that's true.
I was trying to find so this
we gotta recognize this back to Joe in politics and his Corvette.
Y'all are good. Y'all are good. We're just gonna put this up right quick before I wanted to get it.
That is Corvette, and that's where the records are.
So that's this Corvette, and that's where the records are.
It's not electric. Hold on, can you make that page bigger? Can you go?
Let me see. Let's see if I
over in the middle
here.
At the top, middle.
No, let's see.
Middle top on the web page itself.
No, it's not gonna let me blow it up for some reason.
Hold on, let me see.
Wait, here we go. Maybe nope, that just moved it.
No. At the top, where the X.
Yeah, it's usually right here. Let's see. Well, I can do it like this. Oh no, I can't do it like that. Damn. I was thinking I could do it like that. It's not gonna let me go anywhere. Yeah, let's do it like this.
I'm not be able to do it.
It still won't let me do the whole page though. Usually
here it is. It's gonna let me do it.
Usually I can do the whole picture. Hold on, let me get out of here.
Here, I got it. On my whole page. Want me to share it?
Yeah, good. It's so it's just goofy. I mean, when you see this, you're thinking, really? So you see the Corvette, and now, I mean, the page, it's top secret document sitting back there, people. I mean, what the hell? Oh, wait, it's not showing it for some reason. Is that it? Hold on. What the hell?
There we are.
I can't see
what
it.
happened.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, she got it up there. Yeah. Well, it's gonna play disappear. Anyway, when you see the Corvette come back on the back right tail corner,
I don't see it.
You can see it when it comes up. It's just so it was there for a while, I guess. He's taking his Corvette out. It's a pretty Corvette, and there it is. No, that's just for y'all non-believers. I know a couple of my liberal friends wrote in and said, "Oh, no, that's bullshit." Well, that's you've seen the feed stuff. Now you can go look it up for yourself. You can look it up on the internet. It doesn't take long. It takes about 5 minutes to find it and check it out. That's all I can tell you. He guilty. Yeah, he left a. So I love this one. One of the CNN reporters reported that it's nuclear codes. It's the backup copy of the nuclear codes that the vice president keeps. I'm like, really? In your garage? If that's true, man, he can go to jail for that. I don't even know what to think about shit like that when I hear it. I really don't.
No,
we were talking about aliens, Jimmy. Aliens. Well, no, you can mix aliens and God. You can mix all of it. All mixes together somewhere.
A lot of people think like archangels and such are aliens. So I mean, but that's what I was going to say.
I think fallen angels are, in my opinion,
Thursday is associated with Archangel Michael because of that chakra. So I think what's the third eye is I had to look that one up is.
And if people want, in my opinion, Trish, tell me what you think. Third eye is the pineal gland that's in the middle of your brain, and which pineal means in Hebrew it means to seek God's face, and it's actually a location in the Bible where they wrestled with the angels. Jacob wrestled with the angels' pineal. So I know this because my brother has a tumor on his pineal gland, and we prayed about it. He has a big job with Marathon. He's a vice president. He has to speak a lot, and they wanted to remove that tumor that could possibly be cancerous eventually, but maybe not. And if they removed it, then he would have a slur in his speech. But it's the very gland that sits in the middle of your brain, which is also affected by magnetic influence. And we got CERN. All this comes in with CERN and the magnetic fields that are going on. But the third eye is the pineal gland, and it actually means to seek God's face.
Well, and then even the Vatican, they consider it the seat of the soul. They have a giant pine cone. But if you go back before Christianity to even in Egyptian times or paganism, they speak of like the pine cone or this pine cone and gland and how much it affects our energy field.
I need some drugs, people.
You need some drugs.
Because
I need some good drugs, man.
After talking,
I don't need no acid. I need some good drugs. It's no, I was just going along with some of the people writing to me in the other chat. It's
so how will we wrap this back up into politics?
Oh, we get ready to wrap it now. We get ready to get out of here in about 10 minutes anyway. But Christopher, you can write to either one of them. Jennifer, doesn't matter to us. If you want whatever God is happy,
what's your
makes
show?
you happy.
Hold on, I'm going to create some banners real quick. If you don't care, what's your show, Trish?
The Missing Piece with Trish Mo.
The Missing Piece.
She's pregnant by an alien. That's what I said.
When is it?
Mondays at 8 p.m. Central Time.
Yes.
This coming Monday, I will have Jennifer Sullivan. She is the founder of Emerald Isle Paranormal. She's been.
Oh, Al, she's on North Carolina.
No, she's in. She's not from. She's from Ireland.
Ireland. Okay, we used to vacation at the Emerald Isle, the Outer Banks, North Carolina, Atlantic Beach, all through there. And this is on this network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Joe.
Yes, every Monday. I
know. So, every Monday I have basketball games with my son, Trish. We're gonna have to do a show after basketball season or something. You and then you gotta come on my show too. So
what did I say recently having to do with politics in Kansas historically? Oh, so Abraham Lincoln, came to Kansas. Actually, a lot of Kansas back during that time period, because we had Bleeding Kansas and all of that. But there were a lot of political members that either lived here or not where I live in Topeka. Atchison is a big one where there's a lot of money there and a lot of congressmen, and Abraham Lincoln came to Kansas a lot. Well, I just found out that his oh my gosh, I just lost the name of the guy. His spy, the guy that his bodyguard.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh my goodness, what's his
name? I'll look it up while you're talking about it.
But he actually, after Lincoln was assassinated, he became he did security for the Topeka Capitol, and there is still bullet holes apparently in the walls there. I was just there, I'm a photographer too, so I took a lot of pictures there where he broke up fights and all kinds of things. I never knew that he ended up finishing out his career in Kansas.
Was it John Frederick Parker? Lincoln's bodyguard, John Frederick Parker. And actually, Abraham Lincoln had a female, I did not know this, bodyguard also by Kate Warren. Her name.
Probably more like a girlfriend. Leave it go.
You shut your dirty mouth, Joe.
I'm telling you, we're just talking about the times.
Abraham Lincoln's personal bodyguard was John Frederick Parker.
Maybe it was John's girlfriend.
But hold on, we got JFK, like JF, John Frederick. That's kind of weird.
So, question: so why did we switch from wearing the eye in the center of our chest to the top of our head?
I don't know about that.
Well, because they thought the heart, it's like the mind over heart thing. Do you listen to your heart or do you listen to your mind? So they thought the original seat of the crown in your body was the heart, right? Until at some point they switched to being the head. Like you should listen to your mind over your heart.
There's a
but
few...
for me, when it comes
I still listen to my gut.
I always listen, and I was like, why do I always say that? Listen to your heart, listen to your heart. For me, it has to do with heartbeat, like quite literally listen to your heart. Because if you think about it, in any, not just if you're sensitive to things like that, like me, but in any situation, if you think someone's dangerous, your heartbeat increases. If you think, just naturally, through biology, your anxiety, things like that. If you're excited, your heart rate increases. If you're too close to, fire, water, electricity, your heart rate increases. So,
hold on, I found in Kansas, Topeka Cemetery, Topeka. Let's see, cemeteries across the nation held ceremonies and celebrate the men and women that lost their lives in the battle. This includes the Topeka Cemetery, where people gathered around the memorial of John Holmes. This Topeka man served as a bodyguard to President Abraham Lincoln and stood by the president's side the night he was killed. John Holmes.
So did he change his name?
I don't know. The other one was just a bodyguard that another bodyguard that he had. So this is one that it looks like on Monday, the Sons of the Union dedicated a recently laid memorial honoring John Holmes. And this is quoted: "The things that Lincoln fought for are the things my great-great-grandfather fought for. We believed in a united country. He was against slavery, and that's something I agree with, and I'm honored to be part of," said David Kruger. And this was in, what date is this? 2016. And that's all the article says. But it says John Holmes of Topeka in Topeka Cemetery in Topeka, Kansas.
Huh.
Sorry, I'm getting spammed by stuff.
Are you really?
Yeah, we got to get at it. We got to go eat. No, people just sending me stuff about them classified documents. I'll have more. That'll be more of that crap. People just wait and see what happens. That's all I can tell you. Wait and see. We're going to send Emily out there to DC and see what's going on.
It's only 5 hours. Maybe not. It depends on traffic. 5 hours from my house. You want to send me? I will go. I work from home every other week. I don't have my kid. I can get me an Airbnb up there. I will stay a week.
Listen, she's ready to go.
Friendly. If it's
I'm not
friendly,
going to DC.
I will go to DC.
I'll definitely be abducted there.
Yeah, we never see Trish again. She'll be gone. She'll come out. Actually, what we'll see is
was in 2018.
What we'll see is she'll come out. She'll be in an Air Force uniform. She'll be all decked out. You'll be like, and who's she like?
I'll be Captain Marvel. Marvel.
That's what it is. Come with me. And he's like, oh shit.
Hey, wasn't
there's
she
a
Kansas?
portal.
Like that's messed up.
There's a portal over of the White House now too, and I'd
the
love
one
to
we
see
brought back from Iraq after all that warfare.
Afghanistan
been portals in all of Washington. Actually, I mean, all of those buildings are.
You will go. Everybody, go look at the Washington. Look at the White House live camera right now. You're going to see a portal above. It's red. It's always there. It was not there because I watched a lot of it over the months that all this stuff's happened. The crazy 2 years.
Well, they leaked. So Daddy Biden, information that leaked through the CIA, who he worked for, that they had found some kind of gate in Iraq.
Well, we know the weapons of mass. The weapons of mass. What was it called? Weapons of mass
destruction. Yeah,
destruction was actually the body of Gilgamesh, aka Nimrod, and they got that out of the tomb to clone him. In my beliefs, it was never any kind of mass destructions that deals with any kind of nuclear. I believe it's spiritual warfare.
Well, they got pictures.
I've always thought
I'm obsessed with Gilgamesh. I'm obsessed with it.
Iraq, Afghanistan, all these places that we have had recent conflicts with, as far as the U.S. goes, are especially after my ex-husband got back from Afghanistan. Remember, I mentioned that one time that all of his stuff reminded me of the same smell of space, and I'm like. I didn't put two and two together, but I'm like, maybe those specific countries, since they're so different, are actually like in a different dimension.
Well, we got a FOIA request from our government asking where the body of Gilgamesh was and the possible locations of the burial of the Nephilim. They got a response back, but that was never declassified. And they got a response back in 2018 under Trump. It was requested by Hillary Clinton. So it was requested but it came back under Trump. It was never declassified. So what are they hiding? What's going on? I believe this is much more of a spiritual warfare than anything else that's going on. And Euphrates River is drying up like the Bible said it would happen, and we're finding a lot of tombs. I also said this a year and a half ago. We're going to see an uprooting of bodies that people never thought they would find because these old Sumerian gods are being amplified, and they're going to be coming back stronger than ever, 7 times stronger. And it's the return of the gods is what we're seeing right now.
Well, you're believing in a book that was written 200 years after its master's death by God knows whoever. That is true. It wasn't written by Jesus, and I gotta think about this. It was
written by Jesus.
Now let me finish.
You did.
If Jesus Christ himself did not think it was important enough to write down the future of mankind,
you're reading the Bible that's been manipulated.
No, actually, I read the Old Testament because I don't consider the New Testament.
Do you do Arabic?
Yes, because the only thing written in Aramaic, but at the time of Christ, is the epistles, which say split a log there and split a rock there. It has nothing to do with organized religion.
Joe,
does not believe
I'm not
that is that's
the truth.
Religion. Well, it doesn't believe in organized religion. It doesn't believe in anything that exists today.
In writing.
That's the problem. That's the only thing written in at the time of Christ, and it still wasn't written in his hand.
No, it's not true.
That's the only thing
you
can find.
That's not true.
Actually, you ever heard of Dr. John DeSanto? He's the one that did all the forward work. He used to be one of my hosts.
But I don't trust anybody that's.
Well, he's done a lot of work on this very topic, and he would vastly disagree with.
Have you ever heard of Jonathan Cahn?
No, never heard of his name.
I don't know about any of that. I know I translated without ever knowing Aramaic. I
went to Bible college, everybody. I went to Bible college. I got a master's and bachelor's. I was heavily involved in.
So you just
I was heavily involved in an occult. I'm going to tell you this: an occult in a religious thing for a very long time. I was all part of the meta. I was part of the mega churches that are cults, in my opinion. Now, I had my great awakening in 2020 when I got my 1811 Bible. And I'm telling you, all the books of the Bible, everything in there. And then I went back and I even researched further, which is still the 1811 Bible. And people don't even know who King James is. I didn't know who King James was until 2020. I started researching him out. is also manipulated in some ways, but it was a lot closer to the Hebrew and the
It doesn't
Greek
matter what
Arabic.
version of the Bible you believe in. It's well documented on who wrote it and how it was written and when it was written.
No, it's not.
It's very well documented, and it's not just well documented by the Christians. It's well documented by the Muslims, the Romans, and the Jews. So that's what people forget.
The Romans hung Jesus to the cross. They manipulated the Bible and removed books from the Bible
witnesses to everything you're talking about, and they don't agree with a word of what you're saying.
I'm not going to get into how most of Christian beliefs are stolen from pagans.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you on that. Trish.
But
the Christians had to hijack everybody's holidays.
Not hijacking in many ways, but I think they try to cover up in many stuff. But Trish,
because their religion wasn't strong enough on its own.
I agree, Trish. I agree with you, Joe. I'm sorry.
I think that every book that is written by man has been manipulated in some way, because everyone's interpretation of the messages they receive, even if they're I don't care who you're receiving messages from, whether it be God, any deity, God, whatever you believe in, it's going to be translated. It could be translated wrong. So, and that goes back, way back. Like even the Druids didn't believe in written historical documents. They believed it actually followed your DNA, and anything else would be told by honest people, and so that's why and now they're saying that really you shouldn't believe any of the actual Bible. You should believe in the lost books that were removed more so than you should. And even then,
removed the lost books.
Well, but even then, it's up to interpretation. So, in my opinion, we've got billions of different.
No, we got the Catholic folk,
because there's different religions for literally every person that lives, because every person has a different interpretation.
This deals with bloodlines. It comes down with bloodlines. It's not about different interpretations at this point. We got bloodlines. We got the Catholic. The Romans is actually who hung Jesus to the cross. So they want to interfere in anything that comes about that. We got everybody wants to say that Kanye is anti-Semitic. But what Kanye is pointing out, this goes deep. Hold on, Joe. Let me finish this. So we got the Jewish bloodline of the Europeans. Then we got the Jewish bloodline of Jacob, Jesus, the bloodline of that. And we've had a hijack in bloodlines over centuries. It deals with the Pope, and our Pope that's there now in over there that's doing the one world religion, the one world currency. Even went over on Mount Sinai not too long ago, made a whole new 10 commandments. He's the first Jesuit Pope. And it's the European Pope line that's ruling and reigning all over all of these big tech, big companies, Hollywood, and all this stuff. They hijack the bloodline. And this deals with Yahweh. It goes deep with Yahweh. Yahweh is not God Most High. Yahweh is actually Satan, in my opinion, Lucifer. So this deals with bloodlines. This goes super deep. And my Great Awakening, and believe me, before 2020, I would not have ever said this. I was a part of the church, the mega church, Joel Osteen, all those people. They are blasphemy. I don't agree with them. There's a remnant of people that's coming out that's going to be talking about this in the next couple of years. And it deals with bloodlines. And the Pope is a Jew. It's the first Jewish Pope that they've ever had. He's putting up structures all over the place. He has Christian and Islam coming together over in Dubai. Also, people don't understand this. You got to look up Israel News. Vatican's been funding the Third Temple since 2015 under his reign. So it's all come together. And then when I had my shows called, I had shows that was absolutely banned off YouTube and stuff before my whole account was deleted. It was Trump, the Pope, and the false prophet. We have a false prophet that came up if we're in the 7-year tribulation period that after opening my Bible of 1811 and I started researching this stuff, we would have a false prophet because the Jews never accepted Jesus as Messiah. So they're having this false prophet come up that they will claim Messiah. His name is Jeshua ben David, and it comes from the lineage of David, which that's Jesus come from the lineage of David.
I wouldn't worry about the Jews doing that. They can't even agree on what the hell they're doing.
It is right now. Everybody's calling him Messiah, and they're getting the anointing oil ready to anoint
maybe
him.
half of them more. The Jews are divided.
Go look it up. Tell me when you look at Israel Times, Joe.
The Jews. I got several friends that are Jews, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they say.
First
off, they say you're going to burn in hell because only the Old Testament is correct.
The
12 tribes are going to heaven.
God.
All the rest of y'all are going to burn in hell, and that's what they believe. And you know what else? The Muslims believe the same thing. Y'all going to burn in hell.
I'm telling you,
so
we have
you can't
be wrong. No, I'm telling you, we're in the 7-year tribulation.
If you say all the other religions on this planet are wrong, you're being egotistic.
No, you're saying that, not me.
No, you're saying that.
You're
saying I have a fun
the Christians ride roughshod over everybody else. The Jews look. First off,
makeup going on right now.
First off, you were incorrect when you said the Romans killed Jesus.
Did you know?
They put him on the cross, but they're not the ones who actually had him killed. The Jews had him killed. They ordered him to be killed. He asked the crowd before they even put him on the thing, who would stand up for him?
We got a Roman Catholic Pope that is Jew. We got a Roman Catholic Pope, so he's playing dual.
He's a Jesuit. He's not a Jew.
He's a Jew.
You must not know what Jesuits are.
Oh.
Okay, there's 2 Jesuit schools down here. First off, the Jesuits are assholes.
Everybody, just go ahead and listen to Nollins right now.
Jesuit, she's not a Jew. If you think this guy's a Jew, you're not even close to it. He doesn't even think like a Jew. He doesn't believe in that. He doesn't. The way he does his popesy, he's just. And wait, everybody got mad at him because he said that's God's job, not mine. That is the first pope in the history of the world to ever stop and say it is not my job. It is God's job.
I want to know have you read his 7-year plan called the Laodicea? Have you read it, Joe?
I've heard 2 or 3 things sent to me in audio.
I don't care if you heard it. Did you read it? Because I've read it 3 times.
I didn't read anything. I'm
okay,
listen
there
to
we
it.
go, everybody. You got your answer from Joe Montaldo.
First off, I just told her I listened to it. See, she don't listen at all.
No, he has not read the 7-year Laodicea of his 7-year plan that was pushed out in 2019. He has no actual
plan for us whatsoever. He just said that just the other day when he was asked, "What is your plan for mankind?"
He
said, "Yet again, it is God's job."
You got to read what they write.
So when he says,
Trish, I'm getting
God,
upset.
you get upset about
sorry.
it.
Hold on, Joe. You can't listen. You can't trust what anybody says. If they put it out on
you can't trust what anybody says.
You got to read what they write.
You can't trust. Your mind won't let you trust.
I want to listen to Trish's.
I have a fun fact. In Arabic, did you all know that the name Adam means non-existent, negation, nothingness, void, and life after death?
Yes.
Did you know Adam and Eve were 6,000 years before the Christians were?
Yes, I actually did know that.
So
and Eve means beginning of life.
The problem for it is almost every story in the Bible is a lie. Almost every story in the Bible. I shouldn't say a lie. It's usurped from somebody else. So there's no actual facts in the Bible. They're all taken from.
It doesn't matter what you read, right,
so
Joe?
Why would you believe? No, what I just said is, why would you believe in the New Testament? I asked you in the beginning, and you do. I know.
I don't believe in New Testament.
Fully. Yes, because you believe in Jesus, so you believe in the New Testament.
I believe he's existed, and it's historically documented. He existed.
And
he changed my life, and I had a personal experience with him.
Lots of people have personal experience with him.
I think of Jesus as like an ascended master.
But he was here, and it's historically proven. He separated time, everybody, before Christ, after death.
Yeah.
So
it sounds a lot like an alien to me.
Well, it could be an alien.
Let's revisit the miracles of the time.
I believe that Jesus is a hybrid. I believe Jesus is a hybrid. But that book of Lilith things was never in the original documents, and everybody wants to throw that in there, but that's never was there. Lilith was never in the original books. That was deleted. Was the Book of Thomas or what? Book of Lilith or something? What was it?
No, the 2 books I'm interested in is the St. Thomas Epistles, which I find fascinating.
That was never in the original.
No, we didn't say it was in there. It was in the Stitsy Scrolls.
I'm not saying you did, but I've heard that.
So it was written in Aramaic, and it was written at the time of Christ, which is a big difference in the Bible.
Arabic?
No, it's a big difference.
Arabic
it was written in Jesus' handwriting, not his handwriting, but his language. That's what it was written in, and that's why it's such an important book.
Arabic.
It was the only Aramaic is the only thing written at the time he lived. Nothing else was, And I got to be honest about this. And I've said this, and I've said this to many pastors over the years.
We can't say Egypt exists. If Egypt had all kinds of doctrine written.
If you don't think it's important, their pharaohs thought it was important enough to document what they were doing. If you don't think it's important enough to document, you're God's son. You're here on earth to save us. If you're not going to even write it down or even talk about it, because let's be honest, the Apostles' Wall did before the Bible was written. So what the hell is going on here? Why would you do something like that? Why wouldn't you be the one that made sure what you believe and what you
nothing was written during that time, Joe? You just talked out a double standard.
No, what are you talking about?
Where's it? So you know why this is relevant?
The Bible was not written at the time of Christ.
Joe, you know what's
funny? The Bible was written much after he died. Many years after.
We got before Christ and we got after Christ. So what are you talking about?
No, you've got the Old Testament and you've got the New Testament. And what is the New Testament?
This morning, this card flew out of my desk that says you need to write it down.
Write it down too.
I swear.
Hold on. Time out. But my argument with Joe is, Joe, I love you. You know that, right?
Lisa, who?
I love you, Joe.
I'm sorry. I was looking at something else.
My argument with Joe is that he's talking about the Pope saying stuff verbally. He's not looking at what the Pope has said written down in his Lato Si 7-year plan.
I don't care what he's written down. He's dead. Matter of fact, he's being replaced.
The current Pope is dead?
No, he's being replaced. You do know the current Pope's being replaced. That's why I said he's dead. He's being replaced.
But he wrote this 7-year plan that started back in 2020.
No Pope ever. It's like every president. No Pope's going to follow that plan. That's probably why he got his ass kicked out.
It's coming to pass. We got Islam.
No, the new Pope is not going to be a Jesuit.
That opened in February of 2022 of one world religion. We got a lot of stuff that's going on with the Pope that's in time. The new
Pope is done.
We got Rome that's being burned up. Rome's been on fire 3 times.
You should not be worried about the old Pope. You should be worried
about
the
Rome that's doing all kinds of sex trafficking with children.
You should be worried about the new Pope. I don't worry about the Vatican at all.
And this brings in Prince Charles, the big horn and the small horn. The big horn is Prince Charles. The small horn is his son.
Why are you in such a hurry to end the world? Because there's nothing that's going to end anytime soon.
I'm ready. I'm done. Aren't you all done fighting?
No, indeed not. Man, the world's just getting interesting.
I didn't ever say that world was ending.
It was just you directly because people always write to me that.
So
since I've been alive, I have heard the world is ending the whole entire time I've been alive.
Because the world ends all the time.
I'm in my birthday month. I'm an Aquarian.
Oh, there we go. But hold on.
And I believe in peace, love, and life. So you know if I believe in it, it's true.
Right. It's a constant the cycle of life and death. It doesn't mean something has to physically die. We experience deaths in our everyday lives all the time. So
I wouldn't worry about the people on this planet for another, I don't know, 100,000, 500,000, 5 million years.
Even if
people are being wiped out by the vaccine and all this kind of stuff, they've been manipulated heavily. I worry about them now. Like, we cannot trust what anybody puts out by words.
Well, I agree. You shouldn't trust any of that shit.
You need to start reading more. Anything.
Did you all know that 20 to 30,000 species become extinct every single year?
I knew there was a lot every year, but I didn't know that it was that much. I knew that obviously every year.
I have the
look, y'all gonna be stuck here in this dying planet. I'm going to live on Mars with Elon.
I'm gonna live in the heavenlies.
I'm going to live on Mars with Elon as y'all.
L means God.
When the rehab, when God throws everybody in the great pit, Eli and I'll come back to the planet. You see how that's going to work? Elon's got to figure it out.
Elementary.
Mars is very dangerous. Y'all shouldn't do that.
Oh yes,
I'm not doing that. Joe,
he said he already said no Christian.
Joe, all I want to know is can I mail you letters?
He said especially if their name is Emily, they're not allowed on
Mars. Another note, today is International Public Radio Broadcasting Day. Did you all know that?
That's a good day.
On the 14th. Is it the 14th?
Is it the 14th?
Well, no, it's Friday the 13th.
Oh, Friday the 13th.
It's still the 13th here.
Actually, so Jesse, I will schedule
Friday
one.
The 13th.
we do this every so often. I'll schedule one. It'll give me a headache, but I'll schedule one sometime at the end of the month, maybe beginning of next month.
What?
We do well. We do. How would you phrase it? It's like it's a discussion on whose religious is closest to God.
Oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to participate. But I will listen. I'm not going to do that.
I usually stay out of. I just moderate them.
No, you don't stay out. Joe's lying right now. Everybody.
No, I just when we do those when they do them, I stay out of it because, like on my other shows, it's not even allowed to be discussed.
I'm not going to do that, but I will listen. I will listen. I am
Churches
not a close
don't allow
Christian.
me in their buildings, so
Really?
Carrie,
well,
okay, look,
Carrie.
Baptist.
I will not date a Baptist. I'll tell you that.
There are 1,001 religions on the planet. 1,001 certified.
But there's
religions.
a difference between religion and a relationship.
So it's all in what you want to believe in. Hey, look, if that's what you believe, I know the monks that live up in Tibet say they know how it's going. We come back, there's flowers and plants and all sorts of dogs and cats and shit.
We got Mormons too, and I don't want to throw the Mormons.
Mormons are going to space.
Most of these, I'm going to just tell everybody right now, and God's heard me dead right now. Most of these mega churches, most of these big, huge organizations, even the Baptists, even the Pentecostals, any of them are cults. I come from it, and I'm telling you, it's cults.
Yeah,
you got to have a personal relationship. Catholics are cults. All of these big organizations that sit with back, and don't get me started on the 403 or 401 C3s and things, because like they put government in all this stuff too. Like, I do not agree with any of, like, everybody, let me tell you this.
Emily's the devil, guys. I just need to watch out.
She's
reeling y'all in. Y'all gotta watch. I'm gonna burn.
Listen,
man.
I'm rooted in this, and believe me, I am so
I come
thankful.
in peace.
I'm so thankful for my Christian roots, especially in praise and worship, because I grew up with a family, and here it is. This is like 1980s. I don't have the case on it right now because I was using it the other day. The Menshouse Family Singers. This is my dad, right there. That's my daddy. But I grew up singing and praising and traveling and doing all kinds of stuff, won all kinds of awards growing up in the Christian church. We backed away from it for a while. Then we got back into it, and I was a totally different person since middle school's tough years and everything. Then I got super involved in it when I was in high school and got so wrapped up in the religion of it. I was so hard on myself, thinking I had to read so many scriptures a day, thinking I had to pray so many times a day. I was very hard on myself. The day I had my son, all that stuff changed. My relationship changed with God, first and foremost. I knew what unconditional love was. And my relationship with my parents changed because my parents always warned me about things and always thought they were on the bad side. All that stuff changed. So, but I was still very hard on myself. I wanted to be in full-time ministry. I gave up my basketball scholarship, went to seminary college, accredited college, got my degrees in that, ended up going to secular college and got degrees in accounting, finance, and business. But then I bought this Bible, 2019. It was, if you look this up, in Kentucky, we have the longest, garage sale, top yard sales on Route 60. It goes through the whole state almost. I go shopping with my aunt and my mom, and there's this Bible. It's 1811, and it was $45. And something in my heart, which I've had that feeling about 5 or 6 times in my life, buy that. I bought it. I brought it home. I don't have it here with me, or I'd show you. My dad has it. My dad, I used to go to my dad with spiritual guidance a lot. Now he comes to me, but my dad's using this Bible now. And I bought it. It sat on my shelf for a year. And in 2020, I was breaking free from a very toxic relationship. It was a narcissistic relationship. I had to go to therapy over. She taught me to go into no contact. During that time, we would go into lockdown. Can't go anywhere. This Bible there, and literally I have a voice saying, open up, open up. So I start coming to this Bible. Has all the books in it that was removed by the Catholic Church. The Apocryphy, I think that's what you call it. Enoch is in there. The Giants. That was the hardest time in my entire life. And it was a time where it was just me and God, period. And like, there's plenty of times I'm sitting here pointing down. I was in this floor on my hands and knees crying. And my son was the only person, like I went through such a terrible, horrible time during that time. I even cut off my parents and everything. I talked to my parents 3 or 4 times a day. And I opened that Bible and I started reading and I started bringing up the Aramaic and my concordance, the Hebrew and the Greek and stuff. And mind blown. Like, I can't even.
No, if it brings you warmth and happiness, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
It sat on my shelf for a year and I was so wound up in religion and that's not what it is at all. It needs to be a relationship.
Religion's for the control of man. That's all religion is.
And it opened up my eyes to bloodlines. Bloodlines are so significant. Bloodlines are not ever talked about. There's so many scriptures that's been manipulated, King James Version, and I started researching who King James was. And William Shakespeare did the majority of the Psalms and Proverbs transcripts and transcribes. Like it just, and I will tell you this, and just in my personal opinion, any Bible from 1930 and current, I would never trust in a heartbeat. Like I have an 1811 Bible.
There's several different versions of it too.
Oh, all kinds of different versions of it. I would never trust any of them. It's leaving out a lot. And if you go over to my personal Facebook page, I actually posted something 2 days ago of a scripture where it leaves people, if you read it currently, it leaves people in the poverty-stricken mind. I believe in prosperity. I don't believe in prosperity of like Joel Osteen and all that stuff. These people are conning you. These people are conning everybody out of money.
But abundance, people only think of as monetary and money nowadays, and abundance. You know, some of the poorest people have the largest bank accounts. So
exactly. And then we have Kenneth Copeland. And I'm going to tell you this: he's demonically possessed. In my opinion, he is not the same Kenneth Copeland that I used to research and study and go under, and actually went to some of his minister meetings and everything invited to back in the day when I was 20, 23. I look at Kenneth Copeland now, and he's the one that says, COVID be gone, and he blows really loud and all this stuff. He has all these jets and all these planes, his hobbies planes, but the church has funded everything. He's bought like 14 planes or something. He has his own plane landing in front of his home. That's not God. That's really not. That's not what Jesus intended, anything like that. I believe that Jesus intended wealth to be giving to other people and to give out in other avenues. Kenneth Copeland is disgusting, and he's not the same minister that I used to research and study under many. I had a great awakening in 2020. I'll just tell you that. And all these mega churches are cults. All this Hillsong, all this stuff that's going on with Australian ministers and everything is cults. And you all and start looking up these Christian labels. My brother is a Christian artist. He's a Christian rapper. He's signed under artist. Like, I know that's crazy. He's sounding. He's really good. And maybe after we cut off here, I'll let y'all listen to a song here. But he did not sign to a specific label because of who they are associated with. And I thought that was silly. That was moons ago. But start looking up who these Christian associations, these Christian artists are signed to, because it's not good. It's not good, in my opinion. And this goes deep. I had a great awakening in 2020. I'm not a religious. I don't want people to think that I'm a religious. I accept anybody, whatever they believe in. And it's a personal relationship. It's a personal thing with me. And the church is not what it should be.
Church hasn't been that in a long time. You know, by what Emily said, there are 10 or 12 Bibles that I can remember that you can get copies of that date back as far as 305 AD. I know technically Technically, those aren't Bibles. Like the one I'm talking about right now is a code. It's a Kodak of the Vatican.
Well, if you want to follow me on Facebook, just Emily Menshouse. Look me up, Emily Menshouse, Menshouse, Men's House. There is a museum of Bibles. It's all about Bibles. They got so many Bibles from way back, like the first Bible that's in a case. It's Arabic. It's all laid out. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I post a lot of stuff. The director of the facility, I would love to have him on my show, or love to go visit that place. I'd probably cry when I walk into the building, to be honest. But
that's what they post in the first one is the Codex Vaticanus. It's a Latin Bible, actually. It's from 300 AD.
Oh,
its language is Greek, and they said it was probably written in Alexandria or...
Well, we got a lot of those cities around D.C., Alexandria and all that kind of stuff in D.C.
Yeah, they do. But, I mean, there's a lot of good ones you can go and now some of these are going to be another language. You're going to have them translated in several different languages.
But I don't want everybody to think there's other... Trish, I respect the ways that you believe, too. Like, there's all kinds of other ways to believe things. I just want people to... understand that
I believe in God or a higher power. I just don't believe in organized religion.
That's me, Trish.
You know, I had a whole, like I said, when the first time I had a heart attack was right after I got a Psalms scripture tattooed on my hand.
Wow.
And after that, you know, I have pictures. I had these slash marks, one in each ankle, and that's when I broke both my wrists. And then all of a sudden, like I had an accident where I was letting my dog out and I fell on this iron fire poker thing, you know, but it almost pierced my side. So here I am, like have both 2 wrist injuries and 2 ankle injuries, and then it almost went through this snake tattoo I have on my rib cage, right? This iron poker. And I literally, and this was the same day I got that tattoo and had a heart attack, had a whole experience like I was literally there at the crucifixion and stuff, and all that happened. And so I even woke up and could recite Aramaic, which I had never studied in my entire life, and understand it.
Amazing.
And so believe me, I'm not anti, but at the same time, like I said, I consider like Jesus a healer, like an ascended master. And like Joe said, many of those people throughout time were probably extraterrestrial because
well, he's a hybrid. Jesus is a hybrid. I'm already telling everybody that.
And I'm a
I don't
hybrid,
know if that's
so,
I don't know if that's extraterrestrial or not. And the Baptist folks goes haywire when I tell them that he's hybrid. He's part spirit and he's part human because he was born of a virgin. And they go absolutely bonkers when I tell them that.
But you know, having being part of also, then other things played into that in the later years of my life after that, because if you think of like the hybridization programs where they take people's fetuses and things like that started that had happened to me forever. And I'm like, well, obviously that's how the Virgin Mary, like, of course people can get pregnant without, you know, having intercourse. And when you talk about
I believe it's possible.
And so going all the way back when I will always remember, and this was right before the shutdown, these 2 men, I was a table games dealer at a casino, and these 2 men were arguing about religion. And one was saying, no, none of that exists. Just go back to the original, you know, caveman, and then all the way up to Egyptians and blah, blah, blah. And the other one was arguing religion. And I said, listen, I'm just going to play devil's advocate, and I'm not like biased one way or the other. But I was like, you both pray to the same God. Amen. So Amen Ra, the sun god, the Egyptian sun god. So I'm like,
that goes all the way to our Statue of Liberty, the sun god.
Right. And so the one though, but see, a lot of people don't realize that. They don't put 2 and 2 together. It's like that blew the one guy's mind, you know. And so we all essentially we are all. I believe. But
I don't call the sun that. I don't reference the sun to that. If you know what I mean.
But I'm saying they were arguing. He was arguing
because
the Egyptian
God,
side, and
God said God Jesus or God never said that there was no other gods other than him alone. He's the most high God. He's the one that should be praised as the most high God. He's never said that there was no other gods other than him. He never said that.
Like I said, it goes back, I think.
That's why we have on the Return of the Gods.
So
We're
here's
see
an interesting concept. Speaking of, I just saw this on an argument
Sounds
over
like
AI.
a narcissist to me.
I just saw this on an argument over AI. Somebody in a chat room, and I wish I would have saved it. It was the greatest comment ever. They said, well, how are we going to control this artificial intelligence if it can literally do everything for us, be coded to do everything? And somebody in the chat room put, we'll just create a book that is the basic morals and laws they should go by, and hope they stick to it and believe in it. And that's essentially what it is. Think about it. Like,
well, guys and girls, we got to get out of here. We're doing 3 hours.
Hold on, I'm going to push this out real fast.
Go ahead, you push it out. Go ahead.
Jonathan Kahn. My mom's a language arts teacher. She shoved books down my throat my whole entire life. I hate reading. Honestly, I hate reading unless it grabs me and gets me in there, which my 1811 Bible got me there. But Jonathan Kahn, this is an author that I've read every book. I've read this book twice, Return of the Gods. He has the Oracle, the Paradigm, the Harbinger 1 and 2. I'm telling everybody right now, if you want to know what's going on in America, if you want to know what's going on worldwide, there's a lot of prophecy in these. There's a lot of history in these. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. And Return of the Gods, I always, everybody's like, what should I read first? I'm like, Harbinger 1 and 2 would be best. But actually, Return of the Gods, I've read this twice. What's going on in America, what's going on in the world now, and these Sumerian gods that's coming up out of the ground. We're finding a lot of catacombs. Actually, people don't understand this with Ukraine. That's actually the largest catacomb location. It's 12 stories deep, and nobody talks about it. Jonathan Kahn, I'm telling you, everybody, please, you will not be disappointed. I promise. I never push anything. I'm hoping I'll have him on my show. Maybe he'll be a sponsor eventually. I don't know. But
yeah,
Jonathan Kahn, Return of the Gods, read it. I promise you will not be disappointed.
Tawinda, I'm saying name, I'm sure. No, I like to give Emily a hard time because she's just.
I like giving Joe a hard time. I love
but be all fairness, I know, but to be all fairness to everyone listening tonight,
giants underneath it, by the way.
But to be fair to everyone listening tonight, no. Again, I said this, and I say this on most shows. Whatever makes you feel as snug as a bug in the rug is what you should believe. I'm not here, or do I know which God is which, or who should you believe or not believe? All I know is the things that's happened in my life and the things that not happened in my life. So I can only judge it by that. So that's how most people are going to be. If it gives you that sense of warmth, that sense of safety, then you should believe it. Don't let people make you deter.
Time out. I want to tell you this as a Christian. If you need to get a 1811 to 1850 Bible, stop listening to the pastors and preachers that's preaching out of modern day Bibles. It's a mess. Yes. I'm sorry, Joe.
Or just believe yourself. You'll probably be better off.
Right. I think a lot of the power that the Bible has is the energy that's given to it over time. If you think about it, it's the number one compelling story.
Still today, it's the number one selling.
So if you think it, all the energy, so that's what prayers are. It's energy. It's intent. You're putting that, and when you get in groups and do that, and when you get in groups and read the same book over time, it's giving it more energy. What you feeds you.
There's power in expectancy.
And Frida, in the near future, I'll do a show on which religions have alien ties, or which religions have, like the Mormons believe they're going to go into deep space one day.
Christianity has aliens.
The Mormons particularly believe they're going to build a spaceship and take yourself into deep space and live on a different world, because they think they come from a different world. They think God comes from a different world where he just put us here to get us off his planet.
Well, that's Heaven's Gate. And if you want Heaven's Gate people, I have Heaven's Gate survivors that I've interviewed 4 times that can come on. If you want to talk about
but again, it's whatever religion makes you happy, except the ones that make you do stupid shit. If they make you do stupid stuff, don't pay attention to them. But other than that, and
I'm all
it's okay not to believe.
I don't.
you don't have to believe in religion either. I mean, I tell this to people: there's a big difference between religion and spirituality. There's a big difference. It's one of the things
Yes.
I used to teach when I was younger. There's a big difference between being religious and being spiritual. And then what you want to be is a latter. You want to be spiritual, not religious. Religious, all religions are just designed for the control of man. They were designed by men to control men. There's
That's
no
an
Bible or
ego
anything written
level.
on this. Yeah,
Well,
there's
yeah,
nothing that
back
is currently
in
written on
the
this planet
Roman
that wasn't written
Catholics,
by a man.
if you said anything contrary to what the king was saying, they would
Oh yeah,
behead you and everything.
So-
What was it? That's Anne, the haunted Diana. What was it? Anne.
oh, not Berlin.
Anne Boleyn.
Was it Berlin? It might have been. I always get her fucking. She's a weirdo. She was another weirdo.
Boleyn Anne or what? Anne Boleyn. She went against what they were saying in many ways of what the Bible, and she rebelled, and so they used it as a way to control, and it still happens today.
Donna, they don't want me to be Pope. Trust me. Baby.
Not that you're going to be beheaded.
They don't want me to be Pope.
Or probed?
No, Pope. They don't want me to be Pope. Trust me on that one. No, but we got to get out of here. We had a lot of fun tonight. And again, whatever religion you want to believe in or whatever you want to believe in it. And again, you can be spiritual, you can be religious, you can be both. It's better to be one or the other, but get out there and find out. Don't. If you just sit on the fence, you're just gonna get splinters in your ass. Is all I can tell you. So get out there. And
never be a third party.
What's that country song? You have to believe in something, or you'll fall for anything.
That's true too. So get out there and learn. I mean, you're gonna make mistakes. You know, and know this: whether you believe in religion or not, if you are spiritual and you believe that there's something out there better than us, then you're probably okay. I know a lot of y'all get confused when you get into religion because it tells you this and it tells you that and it tells you this. There's a lot of useless information in religion that we don't need to know because it happened 2,000 years ago and it's not relevant to our lifestyles today. But still, I would tell you, if you find something spiritual, I mean, something that you can physically hang on to spiritual, whether it's God, Jesus, Muhammad, whoever it is, whatever it is, it can be as fairy as far as I know. Whatever it is that makes you have that feeling, keep it.
Don't piss off
because because this is a cold, cruel ass world, and anything that can give you that sense of, oh my God, I feel loved, you should stick with it. On that note, we got to go. We'll all be back next week causing trouble.
Balenciaga.
Yes. Oh, yes, right. Balenciaga next week. That's right. So we'll be causing real trouble next week. Well, Emily and I will probably be in agreement most next week. So most of that show we'll probably be in agreement on. But no, it's a lot of fun. So y'all enjoy the shows for what they are. Enjoy it. Oh no, you mean the argument? Okay. Balenciaga, and any information you have, any information feel like you'd like to contribute, send it over to iCarCox.net. But I think I've got plenty. I've had several people sending me stuff. Oh, excuse me. It should be a really damn good show. Well, we're going to throw some other stuff in there besides that. Some other stuff that's going to make you go, oh God, you got to be effing kidding me. Anyway, we'll see y'all next Friday. Till then, you'll catch Trish on Monday. You'll catch Emily back on Friday doing a day. Eventually, we're going to have her on 2 days a week. But first off, I got to get all these other shows caught up. There's too many of them joining right now. It's getting confusing. Don't forget, for some of the shows, you will be able to catch them on Roku. So, so you can go watch us on the big 7-inch TV. Oh my God, look at these people.
That's terrifying.
I know. Good night, everybody, and see you next week. Dun, 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 dun.